Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Welcome back to another edition of Get Off the Damn Fence. I'm Larry Caution here as I am each and every week with co-hosts Calvin Thomas, Justin B.A. the Barber
Going
Harris,
on with you?
and we have a special guest tonight. The King is in the house. You know, you might have seen him from Dallas Mavericks fan, wrestling. He's talking all things these days, all over your internet wave, your social media page. He sometimes he adds everybody on his list, so you got to see his updates. And that's the King. What's going on, brother? How you doing tonight?
Nothing much, bro. I appreciate y'all for having me on here. I
Definitely,
see
definitely.
building something over here, so definitely want to show the fam some love, and you know, just thank you.
Appreciate you. Take a minute, tell the folks about your platforms and what you're doing over, and you've been doing for a while.
So over at Glow Sun Production, me and my homeboy Rel from Dallas, I actually met him through YouTube. We do a few things. We talk Mavs, we talk Dallas Mavericks exclusively. We talk Hoop Goats, where we talk about legendary '90s and early 2000 games, and we talk kayfabe. So that's me talking about wrestling. Just getting back into that. So that's about it. I've been doing it now for about my fourth year actually, doing it with Rel, that show. So yeah, been having fun. Started from nothing, and then now we just reached 3K subscribers. So
That's
that's
what's up,
awesome.
man.
So
That's what's
just
up.
grind with it, man. Stay with it. I know it starts off looking like it's like just one, two people watching, but at some point that grows as long as you stay with the grind. Somebody pick up on your flow and appreciate what you're talking about. So just stay with it, guys. You guys are good at what you do anyway.
Definitely, man. We really appreciate you coming through. And for those that don't know, we've had some legendary debates over the years about all types of things: NBA, NFL, wrestling. Because we talk wrestling too. Big time, long term wrestling fans. So it's very, very good to have you here for this special opening night of the NBA season. That's right, folks. Tonight, as you're watching live, I'm sure if you are a sports fan, you've been keeping an eye on the updated scores, and I know one particular score in particular has a certain interest to one of our co-hosts here on the panel. So I'm gonna turn to my man here because I don't want to do all the talking. Um, my barber friend, how you feeling tonight? Everything all right?
You know, those that don't know, I have a shirt on. It's from Game of Thrones with the Night King. He's pretty much the main villain, which means winter is coming. Those that know about that, that means we just in for a tough rest couple weeks for myself. So that's just the way I feel overall, on both sides of the sports fence. So it is what it is. And we shall be all right,
Should be all
Orange and
right.
blue skies will be coming.
Hey man, we got a couple things to tag you on tonight. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
orange and
I
blue.
mean, we got a couple segments, especially the New York Jets. I'm not letting you off the hook. So but let's get it to it. The NBA season starts tonight, and very, very important. Over the last couple weeks, if you've been paying attention, I mean NBA.com, ESPN, all types of outlets have been letting out their top 100 best NBA players currently playing. Of course, this list is fluid, as Stephen A would say. The list is fluid. You got to go year by year, update your resume. So it's not taking into account everyone's full career. If we're looking at them right now, heading into 2024, 2025, how would you rank the top 10? So as we were talking before we came on the air, there are multiple different lists out there, and we can really go one by one, and you know the best players overall. But I'm going to turn it over to Calvin. I know you pulled up the Bleacher Report list. Run down that top 10 if you have it on hand. If not, I'm going to run down the ESPN one, and also the NBA.com one as well. And the Ringer, I think, did a list too that was interesting. I saw with a couple shuffle. I think they interviewed different reporters for those particular outlets and then put that list together from a consensus. Calvin, run us down through that Bleacher Report TNT one that aired last Thursday night from Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Kennedy Jet Smith.
Yes, this is just a consensus of their list combined. Right now, they got Jokic going into the season. They got Jokic 1, Giannis 2, Luka at 3, Embiid at 4, LeBron at 5, Steph at 6, SGA at 7, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Kevin Durant at 8, Jaylen Brown at 9. So and Jason Tatum at 10. So you got 2 Celtics in the top 10, which means you missing a couple people, but that's their list based off their consensus, the top 10 of their top 50. So we're gonna go through ours, but yeah, I got problems with that list already.
Yeah, and his ESPN ones, they got Anthony Edwards at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is Kevin Durant. Number 8, Joel Embiid. Number 7 is LeBron James. Number 6, Steph Curry. Number 5, Jason Tatum, reigning NBA champion. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is number 4. Number 3 on their list is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Number 2 is Luka Doncic, and number 1, and I think this has been the consensus of what I've seen most lists, is Nikola Jokic at number 1. So I'm gonna start with you, Justin, right off the bat. We all put our list together. What was your top? Let's do your 10 through 5 first. Who did you have coming in 10 through 5 on your list?
10 through 5, number 10, it'll be Wemby. I believe he makes that jump straight into the top 10.
Okay.
I believe this is going to be the year that he put that whole NBA on notice. And he'll follow it up with a playoff berth as well. So
hold on, before y'all continue. I'm sorry, Justin. We're doing this year right now, or we're doing projected?
I say this year, right now, as we go into
now. Okay.
So not based off what we think they're going to do, but we doing them right now.
But we know how this guy does. He just like to go out and say some stuff.
It doesn't matter to me. Last year. We're not doing that. Okay. Last year's top 10 was the MVP voting. So I can just
get no better. So
we got you. Yeah. No, maybe Olympics helped them out. I don't know. Maybe you saw something there. Go ahead. I love the guy. You know, I'm a Spur. Go ahead.
After that, number 9, KD. Number 8, it'll be Anthony Edwards. 7, Brunson. This might be a shock.
I think you had a frog in your throat.
I did not. I said Brunson. I ain't stuck.
It sounded like you said Bronson, like Bronson Reed. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Brunson, JB. Next one up, and this might be a little bit controversial, but it is what it is. Like I said,
you said JB.
JB, I said Jalen Brunson. What's the problem?
Wait, I think JB. I think Jaylen Brown, but okay. All right, go ahead.
No, there's only one JB. Jaylen Brown ain't it. There's no controversy behind JB. Number 6, and like I said, I don't know what y'all project. This is me moving forward.
Man, stop coaching it. Go ahead.
Shut up. Yeah, I got Joker number 6.
The fuck? Okay.
See, there we go. I was waiting for that. Followed by 10 through 5, you said.
Yeah, that's it. That's
10 through 6.
10 through 6. My bad.
All right, bet.
All right, Calvin, I'm gonna go with you. Then we're gonna go with King third. Calvin, what's your 10 through?
At 10, I got KD. 9, I got Steph. 8, I have Tatum. 7, I have Ant. And 6, I have Braun. But notice I have Vic at 11, so Vic is just outside my top 10 as well.
Who?
But I ain't got him in there.
Who?
Wemby?
Vic, yeah. Wemby.
Say his name. Go ahead, spell it.
Victor Wembanyama.
Oh, you said Vic.
Sure.
I didn't understand who was Vic. Understood.
All right, King, what you got?
Okay. Ooh, this
it's tough.
I'm gonna go number 10. Yikes. All right. I'm gonna go number 10 being Kevin Durant. I'm gonna go number 9 being Steph Curry. I'm gonna go number 8 being Anthony Edwards. I'm gonna go number 7 being LeBron James, and I'm gonna go number 6 being Jalen Brunson.
Okay. All right. For me, I'm going. Look, this is tough. I'm going. Man, this is tough. I'm going. KD, number 10. And y'all know I love KD, but he just let me down too much last year.
As a barber, I could not put him higher. I wanted to put him higher than 9, to be honest with you. I can't do
it. Number 9, I'm going. And this is difficult, but if we say right,
man, just say your list like you said for me. I ain't got time for all that.
Right. Shai, I'm going Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
What?
I'm going there. I'm going there, man. Look at it. He's played great. Number 8, I'm going Jason Tatum. Number 7, I'm going Anthony Edwards. And number 6, I'm going LeBron James. That's my list. All right, let's go Snake. Andrew, King. Give me 5 through 1. Call it.
I'm going Embiid, SGA, Giannis, Joker, and Luka.
Okay. Calvin.
I got SGA at 5, Giannis at 4, Embiid at 3, Luka 2, Jokic 1.
Okay. And I want to hear this. Go ahead, Justin.
I think we got consensus Embiid at 5. Let me know if that was right.
Yeah.
I got Embiid at 3.
Oh, okay. So Embiid for me 5, 4 is Tatum, 3 is SGA, 2 Giannis, number 1 Luka.
Okay. And I'm going.
Wait, who was your 3 again? Who you say at 3?
SGA.
Okay.
And my top 5 is Embiid, Steph. I'm going Joel Embiid, Steph. This is tough, man.
Man, just read the list.
Joel Embiid, because I'm still debating whether I should flip him or not.
Yeah, you already made the list.
Hedging his bets already.
Look, man.
Get off the damn fence, man.
Number 1 is Giannis, damn it. Number 1 is Giannis. Number 2 is Nikola Jokic. Number 3 is Luka and Steph Curry and Embiid. Those are my 5.
So none of us have Jaylen Brown consensus, right?
Hell no.
I'm just saying Finals MVP. I'm just making sure.
I want to switch. I want to switch my 2 and 3. Larry got me off the fence. I'm going Giannis number 2 and Joker number 3.
I just
What's Giannis for you, Calvin?
I had Giannis 4. I got Giannis 4.
Okay, because I had him 2 for mine.
I was
last
debating
thing
them at 2.
I didn't see him in the
really
playoffs last year.
Yeah, but I Giannis is a beast, man. I think Giannis getting underrated now.
I ain't underrated at 4 ain't a bad thing, but I'm saying I've heard more talk about him potentially asking out of Milwaukee because of what won't happen there than talk of them going to the conference finals. I'm not saying it's a knock against Giannis. That's not a knock against Giannis at any point. I'm just saying
the baddest dude in the league.
I take it that they was number 2 up until like the last week. New York did sneak in and take it, but at the end of the day, it's because they kind of just Giannis got hurt.
Away.
Yep. And they kind of gave it away. So I'm not going to forget what all he did up until that point. He kind of kept Damian Lillard in the mix when he wasn't having his best season. So I don't forget who Giannis is. That's why he was, to me, no question, number 2. I didn't have no flip-flop or debate about it.
But I still think Luka had a better. My last memory of Luka is better than my last memory of Giannis. My last memory of Jokic is better than my last memory of Giannis. No, I'm not even speaking. I'm just talking about not far how they made it, but just basketball-wise, while taking this team somewhere I didn't think they would go last year. And that's my last memory of Luka is taking that team to the finals, beating the Minnesota team that beat Denver, who was the defending champion last year. That's what I think about my last thought of Luka. So I got to put Luka over Giannis.
Chemistry is important. And
who was your number 1 overall pick?
Mine?
Yeah.
Jokic.
Okay.
So you just made that case about Luka, and you brought in someone that was two series ago put out by Minnesota, and then Luka put them
1
out.
series. Oh, compared to Luka, yeah. 2
So
series.
why wasn't it Luka?
I don't think Denver's a good team. I mean, I think Jokic dragged that team as far as he could take them. So he did more with
I
less.
think they are very good.
Why
AG?
when Joker loses,
Jamal?
when he loses, is always don't have enough help. When he wins, they're done.
I'm not Jokic. I'm not Jokic
solid
fan.
at a 4.
He's
solid.
He's very solid, but I mean, look, Jamal Murray has never been an all-star. He should have been an all-star a couple
Just
years
because
ago.
of the players that's in the West.
Jamal Murray's never been an all-star. Michael
If he was in
Porter
the
is a
Eastern Conference, he
glorified
would have been an
three-point shooter
all-star.
at this point, and someone that they paid based off potential, and he hasn't lived up to that potential.
But he's good in the regular season, though.
But why does it switch, though, is my question. Why before last season, the favorite to win the championship was Boston or Denver. And then it seems like whenever Joker,
they weren't my favorite though.
I'm just saying
they were.
When it seems like when Joker is doing good, the team is a dynasty or on his way to being a dynasty. And when he's not the best, it's his team's not that good. My last sight of Joker was him having Game 7 in his house as the best player in the league, up by 20 and losing that game. That's horrible. So I don't think Giannis would have did that. I don't think Luka would have did that, but they don't talk about that. So it is what it is.
I also put, and I try to look at the current day. I think adding Damian Lillard to that Milwaukee team and subtracting some of the pieces hurt their championship aspiration. But I thought Giannis still played very well, and then the injuries kind of got to him at the end. Coaching matters as well. I think some people can overcome certain things and still play at a
credit
certain
to
level.
Doc? Is that what that means?
No, I'm saying he had to play for that. You know I don't like Doc, so let's not even
You
start that.
said
Right
coaching
now.
man. I'm like,
You're right. They should have never fired Bud. I told you that 2 years ago.
I don't know who Doc is. You talking about Glenn? I don't.
When
He
I
hasn't
think
been a
about Glenn,
doctor
I think-
since 2008.
Exactly.
when you say Glenn, I think about Glenn Davis.
I just think that Giannis has been overshadowed by other stuff, and they thought they were going to make the team better. Now, year 2, him and Dame might be a lot better. We'll see. We'll have plenty of time to examine that. But I just think individually,
But is them being better, them getting to the conference finals?
again, that's
in
a
the
team thing, and we'll talk about that, and we can transition into that now if you would like. But I just think from who's the best player in the league right now, if we just looking at full body of work, I debated it. I could honestly, I could put Luka up there. I could put Jokic up there. I mean, I think it's a toss-up. It's what do you prefer? Do you prefer the individual statistics from who shoots a better percentage from the field, who's better from three, all around defensively? If you put it all together, is that how you come to your conclusion of who scores the most? When you looked at how you put your list together, King, what were you looking at to kind of examine who you think is the best player in the league?
Well, a little bit of everything. Like I said, offense, defense, but also what you do as far as playoffs and as far as lifting your team, as far as their floor. And I had a question to you, actually, because you ain't Calvin, because neither one of you guys, I think, had Jalen Brunson in your top 10.
No.
And my question is, what would Jalen Brunson have to do, seeing what he's done with the Knicks squad that basically has either had a underwhelming Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, that where he's shown up and done what he did, or even having nobody and everybody being banged up and going as far as he did last year. But then I heard you had Steph Curry still in your top 5, and I'm like, when Steph Curry doesn't have any help, he doesn't do anything basically. No, not you, Calvin. I'm sorry, Larry.
I still think, again, I take everything into account, and I think Steph still plays at a level. And even if you want to look at the Olympics, I said we taking everything into account. He can still raise his standard to a level that few can, and I can't get those images out of my mind of what he did in the Olympics. That played a part into my thought process as well. That don't matter.
You are highlights.
It does.
I watched the games.
That's what it is.
He's better than Bron, though?
You are a sucker for highlights. That's what it is.
No,
based off of what you're saying,
he had a
he's
couple
better than Bron.
highlights, and you're a sucker for it. That's unbelievable.
I'm looking at projections, all right, for the season as well as right now. And I think LeBron James on that Los Angeles Lakers team, to me, look, he can muster up a couple games here and there. He might go on a run. But night in and night out, can I count on him? I can't. And I think he's too much of a centerpiece for that team for me to really hang my hat on it. I just can't.
Count on Steph, though?
I don't have Steph or LeBron James in my top 10. Based on the fact that I don't have either one of them, we'll talk about it later. I don't have either one of them making the playoffs. So I'm not going to have someone that's not making the playoffs into my top 10. These are reserved for people that's going to be bona fide playoff
So you
stars.
got San Antonio making the playoffs?
I do. I just said that.
So wait, you got San Antonio. You got San Antonio being the top 8. That's when I say.
I have San Antonio making the playoffs. Yes.
So you got them top 8, or top 8, top 6. What are we talking about when we say playoffs?
It's
individual talent still matters.
Definitely
So
play in.
you saying play in?
Yes.
So playing is top 10. So okay.
But I'm calling 8 for them. But
so you don't think neither? Hold on. Even with the Clippers injuries and all, you think neither Golden State nor LA is going to be in the play-in?
One of them might be.
Well, you just said neither one of them.
One have to be
I
in
said
there, right?
might. We'll talk about that in the next segment. Might. Just like last year when they might. They was trash. How much better did each team get? They didn't get that much better. Memphis is bad. There's other teams that's gonna be better.
They won
So
one game against the Nuggets.
I can't hold that to them. Those dudes, it's about time for them to hit the water. You like KD got Team Book on his team.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I still think this is an individual thing. And
Correct.
These guys are still individual talents that I think are worthy of being top 10 players. KD, if we want to talk about who's currently like not played up to a standard, that's the guy.
KD actually held that Phoenix team together throughout the whole entire last year. If you
and
really
what happened in the first round of the playoffs?
It wasn't Book.
It was, hey man, Book, the guy that, but the thing is,
I almost put Book in my top.
I'm still looking for Bill. Where you
right,
at?
but the one question with Book is who was asked to do something to get out their comfort zone more,
Exactly.
KD or Booker?
Booker
was asked to be a point guard.
The team that you have, you don't bring a defensive minded. The team that you have
not being fully utilized.
But I'm just saying,
you don't
like,
bring a defensive minded head coach. That's the other thing. The head coach and the players didn't match in Phoenix last year. They'll be better with Bud, in my opinion, this year.
And with a point guard.
And they got what's due?
They got a real coach now.
Yep, Tyus Jones.
Tyus Jones, yeah. They got a real point guard. They're a little bit deeper as well. So
right. I mean, I'm not knocking Phoenix. I think Phoenix is a strong.
To go back to the original question, in my opinion, Brunson still has to do more because even playing against
how much
Indiana.
More what is this? Is this Mamba mentality commercial? How much more did he got to do?
Hold on, Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards has done nothing, right?
He made a conference finals.
Okay. So he made a conference finals
and swept KD on the way.
Hold on. What did Shai Gilgeous-Alexander do?
He made it to the conference semis. Second MVP voting.
He made it to the second round.
Second MVP voting. That built that. That was the same team they had the previous year, and they went how much further?
Wasn't Jalen Brunson top 5 MVP last year?
Yes.
Was he higher than SGA?
I'm just. Oh my goodness, man. I don't know.
I honestly think
this is what I deal with. It's the constant hate.
Wait. You have Vic in your top 10 who did nothing last year. But then you're gonna say LeBron and Steph who were in the pool and LeBron was in the play-in and went to the first round playoffs.
It's slight projection with mine. I do agree that Wemby's going to be that dude. He should have been Defensive Player of the Year, to be honest with you.
You're right.
To be honest,
okay.
That don't make you top 10 though.
It will
Rudy
for him.
Gobert been defensive player how many times? He top 10?
He's not him offensively.
You just say he should be defensive player of the year, so he's automatically top 10.
No, I did not say that. You're putting words in my mouth. Don't do that. Pause. Don't do that. I never said that. They're not one and the same. I said he can't do what he can do offensively. That's the difference. He is not a liability on offense. That is the difference between the two. All you got to do.
Let's go back over these top 10s again because I'm trying. You had no LeBron, no Steph in your top 10.
Correct.
So
did you have KD?
Yes.
You got
he was the only old head because he's gonna be a bona fide player in the playoffs. He's gonna get his team there.
He's projecting again.
Exactly. That's what his list is.
Hold on.
I'm saying right now, I don't have no problem with any of them being.
Got a point. That's a point.
LeBron gets to the playoffs. LeBron just went to the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago.
That is very subject this year. We will see.
Suspect?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So my question is, if because I'm trying to think about who everybody left off their list and who they didn't. You had Jaylen Brown in it? You had Jaylen Brown?
No, he left off Stephen LeBron.
And who was in there instead? Because I'm trying to even do the math.
Brunson and
Wemby. For me.
Wemby,
Wemby.
Yeah. I left off Tatum on mine.
So you don't have Tatum top 10.
So you had Brunson.
I think the MVP candidate carried that team to the best record in the
six.
Tatum
6 what?
Nah,
he came in 6 with the MVP voting.
Tatum in the playoffs look man. I don't know what happened. He snake bitten or something, but
so okay, let me ask you the question. So you have no one from the NBA from team that won the NBA Finals in the top 10.
No, they just got a bunch of top 50 players.
That's how I look at the Knicks. I think the Knicks have a great team, and I think Brunson is sensational.
Well,
in
one
certain
team.
spots.
No, there's a difference between the two. One team, all his pieces broke down, and one person carried them.
That's 10.
That's showing you the value of a player. that he wasn't projected
Bro,
to do that,
no-
and he still
Yes,
done
so
it.
many corners of the cut.
credit. I'm not disrespecting him. If I had 11, he would be number 11.
You forget
No
how
one
good
on
that
the Celtics.
Philadelphia squad was, and everybody talked about how we couldn't stop Embiid, which he did dominate. They couldn't stop
Embiid was on
Embiid.
one leg,
That's
man.
what I
They
want
couldn't
to
stop
say.
He
Bro,
did dominate, though.
That's a
there is
difference.
nobody. I feel like there is nobody in the Eastern Conference since Jalen Brunson's been over there that's outperformed him in the playoffs so far.
Giannis.
Giannis, it hasn't been Giannis because
Did
Giannis
they
has been
go to the
suspect
playoffs
in the
2 years?
playoffs and all
Did
that.
they go to the playoffs 2 years ago?
They've been in the playoffs,
Yeah.
I think, every year since Jalen Brunson's been there.
Who did they lose to 2 years ago? Was that the Trae Young year? No, wasn't Trae Young.
No, he didn't lose to Trae Young. They lost
the year
to-
before that.
It was only 2 years, right? You only had Jalen Brunson 2 years now, right?
Yeah,
This is year 3.
This is year 3 right here, yeah.
yeah.
The last 2 years,
Jalen.
Jalen Brunson has been the best Eastern Conference player, I think, in the playoffs.
Ah,
All right, you
I thought Jimmy Butler was pretty good.
where was Jimmy Butler last year?
Well, we just saying you said nobody's
Got hurt.
played better.
I
Jimmy
said
Butler
since-
carried that
hold
team
on,
to the
let-
finals.
I said since Jalen Brunson has been a Knick. That's the
That was
last
before
2
last
years.
They went to the finals. Miami
So
did.
you got to include both years. You don't average. That's how
Oh.
the average works between 2 years, right? Between the
Okay.
last 2 years, the best player in the Eastern Conference in the playoffs has been Jalen Brunson.
Okay, but I think it's
They
a
didn't make that
totality
was
thing.
3. That was 22.
I'm trying to think if you left off LeBron and Steph, you're projecting that this year
Yeah, we lost the Heat. We lost to Miami.
with Jimmy Butler.
Y'all beat the
years
Cavs.
ago.
Okay.
Yeah, we beat the Cavs, lost to
That
Jimmy
was
Butler in
that
like
was
game
pre
6 or something like that.
Donovan
That's
Mitchell.
wild.
No, it
All
wasn't.
right.
No, it wasn't. Jalen Brunson beat Donovan Mitchell 2 years in a row. Beat him in Dallas, and then he beat him in
Beat
New
him in
York.
Dallas. That is a
He's
fact.
outplayed Donovan Mitchell over and over.
Hell, I
Which
love Donovan
King got on
Mitchell.
me multiple times because
Individual
I hated him
talent.
and I wanted
sensational.
Donovan at first.
He's
That is
better than
sensational.
Jalen Brunson.
All right, let's look ahead to this season. As we said, we started tonight, and I know Calvin, you brung up. Let's do the divisions. Divisions don't matter in NBA. Let's talk about who's going to the playoffs. So we know what the play-in is really like. Can't always project that last couple 3. So let's start with the guarantees. Who do we believe wholeheartedly? What's it? 7 going to the play-in? 7 through 10.
7, 8, 9.
1
Yes,
through
yeah.
6. 1
1
through
through
6.
6.
1 through 6 are locks.
10 players.
Yeah.
Yes.
So who are your
7
1 through
10.
6 locks? Who do you project to be the best team in the Eastern Conference? Let's start with you this time, Justin.
Eastern Conference. 1, Boston. 2, Milwaukee. 3, I have Cleveland being number 3.
Where's New York?
4,
He trying to be humble. He trying to be
no,
humble.
I can explain. But 3, Cleveland. 4, that's when I have New York. 5, I have the Sixers. And 6, I have Indiana.
Interesting.
Reason being for Cleveland, I just think
Yes.
that Cleveland is an overall. They have a more familiar squad. Going from 1 year to the next year. It wasn't too much turnover with that team. And on top of that, hopefully somewhere along the line they bring in Amani Bates. But they managed to learn how to win games without Donovan Mitchell. And that's what I really was looking forward to looking at last year. Can they win without him? And they actually started to do that. So I think there'd be just a little bit more of a cohesion with that.
We were injured last year, so
We are talking about Milwaukee. We just did that, and I clearly got Giannis number 2 for my overall top 10. And I think this is his year to once again put the lead back on notice, saying who he really is. So you'll probably have more dominant offensive performances from him, and that's what I wanted to see. Boston will still be Boston. They just have a great solid 5, even with KP in and out. And I think New York just have to battle just bringing in a piece like Cat. That's not a plug and play for us. As much as everyone wanted to admit to that, that's not a plug and play. If you would have told me Julius was still here and I still had that same team, I would have said we could have been number 2, number 3. Without Julius and without the cohesion, even without a center. Yes, that's how strong I feel behind JB led team. But we have to incorporate Cat and make sure he's happy and make sure that he's good. So that's going to be some struggles. We're not going to start. Clearly, like tonight, we're not going to come out the gates on fire. We're going to have to learn how to win with each other, and that's going to happen. And Philadelphia 5. The only reason I had them at 5, one, you already know Embiid ain't going to be playing multiple back-to-back no back-to-back games. So he's going to miss games just because of his scheduled time. And Lord knows what Paul George is going to be about. So this is really based off of what Maxey can do for this team. Exactly. Maxey next year will probably be a top 10 player based on what he can do this season, because then he'll be following up with that playoff performance, which New York was more worried about Maxey than we was worried about Embiid, and that's a fact. And like I said, the number 6 for me was Indiana, and Indiana is just Indiana. They're going to be who they are. They're just a run-and-gun team. And throughout the regular season, that's good. That definitely helps them out. They definitely won't be going to the conference finals based off injury. Whew.
Hey, man. I hear you. Calvin, go ahead.
I will admit, I did this list prior to find out that this Philly news today, but I got Boston 1. I think they're the class of the Eastern Conference. I think if you want to win, you got to go through Boston Eastern Conference. I had Philly 2. This is prior to Embiid not playing back-to-backs and not playing this whole week, which I'm like, well, how are you missing the first week of the season? In addition to Paul George being out, I think 7 to 10 days last report I heard. So I expected them to miss games and both play probably in that 60-65 game range, but I thought it would be more staggered and I'm missing both at the same time. I got New York at 3. Regardless of this new lineup, they'll be able to beat decent teams and good teams just because of the talent that they have, the talent they acquired. When you have wings that can defend, and you have Cat who should be averaging a double-double in the East, when your only real competition is Giannis and Embiid, and Embiid's already out. They'll have to work through those growing pains, but I think they have the talent to do that. Even when they're not on, they still can beat good teams, at least initially, till they get their rotations in order. I got Cleveland 4. I think, like Justin said, they can win without Donovan Mitchell. They were one of the most injured teams last year. Darius Garland was injured. Donovan missed the end of the season going towards the playoffs. I think they get one more year. Donovan, we know he's here for the long run. You can kind of get better integrated with him. I got Milwaukee next. I gotta see it. I'm not high on Dame. I know last year may have been just one off, but I gotta see it. I gotta see him bounce back. We already know Chris Middleton is hurt. I was really high on Gary Trent being there, and he's already hurt as well. Hopefully this isn't a repeat of last year. And I got Indy at 6. I don't know if Siakam and Halliburton is enough to improve off last year. It took a lot of people by surprise. They're going to put up a lot of points, but they're going to give up a lot of points as well. And I think when they play one of the better teams, they won't be able to score as easily. So that's my top 6 in the East.
King, what you got?
Man, the Eastern Conference is difficult. Shout out to them. I feel like they're getting better. I think we all probably in agreement that, the Boston Celtics are just the top of the Eastern Conference. They're number 1. They're probably going to play for around 60 games like they did last year. But I feel like 2 through 8 actually is difficult in the Eastern Conference. I'm going to throw some oddballs in there, but I'm going to go with New York being number 2. Like, it's because you got to try to think of injuries. And a lot of these teams in the Eastern Conference deal with injuries. So, but I'm going to go New York number 2. I'm going to go something wild. I'm gonna go Orlando. Nobody said Orlando. I'm gonna go Orlando being the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference.
You got Paolo making that big of a jump.
I think Paolo gonna be one of the top. He said about what is his name, Maxey being a top 10 player. I think Paolo one of the most slept on number 1 picks there is. Like, I think Paolo is
because of Wemby.
Just maybe Wemby, Luka not being.
No, I'm saying because Wemby came after him the next. Yeah,
I just think that
even his rookie campaign, he wasn't really getting love.
Yeah, like the numbers he does, his playoff numbers, like this dude can do a little bit of everything. I think Paolo. I trust in Jamal Mosley. He was the former coach. He should have been the coach of the Mavericks. They got KCP. I think they're rounding their team in the form. I think they're a bunch of young guys just gonna get better. Everybody in their team should get better. Really, I don't think anybody really is going to fall off. That's really a piece of the team, and I trust in their coaching. So I think Orlando is going to be a top 4 seed this year. I'm gonna go with Indy being number 4. I'm gonna go Indy being number 4. Hopefully, if they can stay healthy. I know their defense is still going to be suspect, but I think they're a regular season team. They remind me of like the Phoenix Suns before. Like Rick Carlisle just has some guys over there running, and they're going to outrun a lot of guys. A whole bunch of games where they're going to get easy wins just outscoring you. Then this is where things get tricky. I think at 5, I'm gonna go with Milwaukee. No, I'm gonna go with Philly. I'm gonna go Philly being 5. I think Maxey. I think they play enough games where they have a decent regular season, where as long as they don't have 2 guys missing a game, that's how I feel. They can keep 2 guys on the floor. They can win regular season games. If that happens, I got them at 5, and I got Milwaukee at 6.
So you don't have Philly?
You said
I said Philly is 5th.
No.
I think Philly and I think Milwaukee. This is the year where Giannis really gonna have that.
You don't have
conversation.
Cleveland.
No, I don't have Cleveland.
Okay.
I think Orlando's gonna be better than Cleveland this year. I think they should. They almost beat them last year, and I think they're gonna get better and beat them this year. So that's my hot take on that one. I'm not a big Donovan Mitchell guy, just in general. Like I think Donovan Mitchell needs to go and be number 2 and stop playing.
You really high on Paolo. I'm not saying he's bad. I don't.
Paolo gets you 20, 10, and 5.
But
I guess a few guys at the power forward position that gets you 20, 10, and 5 out there first 2 years. Maybe into the playoffs.
My only response would be, I don't know if he can be a top 5 player in the East. I think if for him to be top 5, his team to be top 5, top 6, I think he got to be top 5 in the East. And I don't know.
What was Cleveland for you? Top 4, top 5?
I had Cleveland 4.
Is Donovan Mitchell a top 5 player in the East?
I think he can be. I think he can be before Paolo this season.
Man,
I'll say it like that.
And I'm telling Paolo, like the thing with Paolo. So let me ask you this: if Paolo would have won Game 7 last year, where it wasn't with Franz and all of them was trash, would you be having the same conversation? That was his 2nd year in the league. He already an All-Star, 2010 and 5. This is his 3rd year.
Probably not, but I'll take it a step further because I would even say you gotta have. If I look back through my list, I think I have more Western Conference players than Eastern Conference in the top 10. But if I just did a top 5 in the East, I'm probably putting Jaylen Brown in there and with Tatum, and I think that's just a lot. And then I haven't even mentioned Giannis, JB. If Embiid is going to be healthy, so I don't know if Paolo can jump. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying I don't look at that KCP addition as big as you do. I'll say it like that.
I think Paolo is closer to Ant than people give him credit for. I think because of his team,
best under 25 or something like that.
Just as far as talent, I think what can't Paolo do?
But don't you have to average more than 20 points to be considered one of them?
Anthony Edwards only averages 25, 5, and 4. Paolo averages 20, 10, and 5.
It's still 25. You know what I mean? Like
why Anthony Edwards better than Kyrie Irving?
Because he got more highlights.
Why is Anthony Edwards better than Kyrie Irving? He don't got more highlights than Kyrie Irving. Why Anthony Edwards better than Kyrie Irving?
I didn't say he was better than Kyrie Irving.
You just say you're top 10 player.
He's taking a different role on his team. Anthony Edwards is the number 1. I think Kyrie is definitely number 2 to your boy.
You're right.
You say that, so I think he's taking a different role and he's in a different part of his career. I mean, I don't think those.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just asking you the question.
30
the point goes back to what Calvin says. Calvin said that Jaylen Brown. I'm saying that Paolo can easily jump over Jaylen Brown because Jaylen Brown's number 2, unless he's going to take Taysom Tatum's spot. At the end of the day, you still a number 2, benefiting on being on the team.
Oh, I agree with that.
If I put Paolo on that team, let's rock off championships as well.
Yeah, we'll continue to monitor that situation. I want to move this a little forward. We'll be here all night. But I'm not going to do my top 5. But what I will say this is, y'all disrespecting the Milwaukee Bucks, and I don't like it. How can you look? Middleton's going to be healthy by Christmas. All right,
number 2.
He ain't been healthy since the previous Olympics.
Don't worry about him, my man. Did you see him in the playoffs last year? Did you see him when Dame was gone and Giannis
I saw him get hurt in the playoffs again.
He got hurt again.
He played well until he got hurt, but then
he got hurt again.
He
got hurt like game 2
until he got hurt.
He had to carry it all. He didn't get to play with Dame and Giannis for a full series. They both was out. So look, give my man credit. He plays hard. He's a scoring machine. I think he's a very underrated scorer.
He messed up by playing that Olympics after they won that title.
He never recovered since.
He had surgery on both of his ankles this offseason.
He'll be back. He
Man,
could
get
have
out
played
of here.
tonight, they said. But they're going to rest him. They're going to
They
rest
wasn't
him.
playing tonight.
You know what I mean? He could, if the season opener, he could be ready to go. Yo, y'all keep sleeping on the Milwaukee Bucks. Y'all going to learn real quick.
They
Thank you,
old, man.
Justin. You gave him respect at number 2. I think that's right. But I wouldn't put him at number 2. I think you're trying to underplay the Knicks. The Knicks is number 2. But I would go Philly because Philly, the injury issue. Paul George is not somebody you can count on. I never liked the move. I don't think he's worthy of anything. And then you know what B's injury history. So you can't really put Philly or honestly, a team like with a splash of talent like Chicago. That's who they remind me of. Like a team, they got all these names and guys who should be much better, but you just can't live up to it when it really counts. Let's move this forward to the Western Conference, and I think the West is very interesting as well because you have some flux because of the cat move. You got some different changes to some of the teams that we saw at the top on last year. I'll start with you this time, King. Who's your top 5 in the Western Conference?
They're gonna say it's biased, but I'm going with the Mavericks being number 1 this year. I'm gonna go with number 2 being the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm gonna go number 3 being the
You said Memphis number 2?
I'm gonna go number 3 being Minnesota Timberwolves.
Got the gunslinger coming out strong. Okay.
I'm gonna go 4 being the OKC Thunder. 5 being I'm gonna go 5 being the Phoenix Suns and 6 being the Denver Nuggets.
6.
Yep.
Wow. Fall from grace. Now, how close are these teams? Because we know how last year, it came down to everybody was within like a game or 2 at the top. You know what I mean? It was very tight.
I really think it's going to be close on both sides from 2 throughout the bottom, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I think number 1's going to pull away. I think it's revenge season for the Mavericks. I really think Luka's on. He came into shape. I mean, I've been watching the offseason and all that whole injury BS in the preseason. They just let him rest. He didn't really have an injury. And yeah, all that's just based off of last year and all in the playoffs and them thinking he let him down and all. But I think this is going to be a revenge year. Real talk. So I think the Mavericks going to be number 1 by far. I think OKC going to deal with injuries this year. Like they were healthy last year and they snuck in at number 1 at the end of the season last year. Like everybody acts like they ran away with the league. They didn't do that. So I think they're dealing with Hartenstein and all that already. Caruso, we don't know what he's going to do with injuries. If he can play a whole season, I think they're going to deal with the injury bug this year. I think Minnesota with Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo and all, I think it could be a better overall fit. It really is just a set in line for future picks so that they can set up something. If Anthony Edwards does want some more help, they can go get more help now instead of being locked in. But also it depends on how Julius Randle really plays, how he decides to be. And then Denver, I think they just fall from grace. I don't like Denver. I think Joker is a little bit overrated. I think he's incredible. I think he is probably the best player or arguably the best player of this past few years. But I just don't think he's above and beyond the way they put him as far as the stats and all. This dude is not. It's like they always say he can average 30 if he wants to. No, he can't. That's not what Joker does. But it is what it is. So that's my opinion.
What was your? I know I've been meaning to ask you about this. What was your thoughts on the Clay signing?
I like
you
it.
really high on that?
It's better than Tim Hardaway Jr.
You got him going to be number 1 pulling away. Clearly, he like it.
No, I didn't think that was because of Clay.
It's better than it's a few pieces. So we lost Derrick Jones Jr., we lost Josh Green, and we lost Klay Thompson. I think Najee Marshall is better than Derrick Jones Jr. I think Quentin Grimes is better than Josh Green, and I think Klay Thompson is way better than Tim Hardaway Jr.
Clay starting?
Yeah, Clay probably going to start. But at the end of the day, I think it might be Quentin Grimes.
Quentin Grimes, exactly.
Yeah, that eventually starts. But Clay going just based off the
3-and-D guy.
No, that's off topic. I was undecided about that.
No, is he better than Tim Hardaway Jr.?
I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's all they needed.
He took away Tim Hardaway Jr. and you added Klay Thompson. Don't overthink it. That's what I'm saying. You're overthinking it.
No, I feel like y'all just give a lot of points.
But did you like Derrick Jones Jr. before the trade deadline last year? Did you even know what he was doing in the
Yeah, I mean, did I think he's the most athletic wing y'all had last year that was able to guard multiple positions? Yes.
Why was the Mavericks defense trashed him before the trade deadline if he was still playing?
I'm not saying it was 100%. I'm not. It was more than just him. But I think he was the most versatile defender y'all had.
So
That's
we
all I'm
added
saying.
Najee Marshall, we added Quentin Grimes, and we added a Clay Thompson who used to play as an all defensive guy. That's all I'm saying. If DJJ was the savior,
5 years ago.
These
That's
guys,
all I'm saying.
But if DJJ was almost out the league before last year, literally, and we got 3 guys I think that are better than him. So we'll see.
Okay.
Interesting.
Understood.
Justin, give me your 5. I mean your 6. Excuse me.
I don't think OKC is going to deal with as much injuries as Kane thinks. So I have them being number 1 overall. I think SGA is just going to. He's going to have way more than the average of 30. I'll say that. He's going to bump it up to at least 30, 31, 32. He should. Dallas is number 2. Number 3, I have Memphis. Number 4, I have Minnesota. Number 5, I had Denver. And number 6, I have Houston.
Gee.
So you don't have Phoenix? Who you don't have?
I don't got Phoenix in that one.
Phoenix will be, if we going further, Phoenix will be 7. But no, not in the top.
Okay. Calvin, what you got?
I got OKC 1. I just don't foresee the injuries, and I also think if something happens, that Clippers pick can be a really big trade piece, especially if Kawhi plays 25, 30 games. You know, they got the potential to get their pick this year. And I don't think, if you're a team that's contending, you don't need it. You can easily flip that for more pieces. So I think that could be an easy trade trip. And I think they're already talented. So I got OKC 1. I got Dallas at 2. Needless to say, I got Minnesota at 3. I want to see how they do this 3-man weave with Randall, Gobert, and Naz Reid. I think Naz Reid needs to get more time than Gobert. I think he's going to be catch replacement. We saw he can guard Jokic. He can hit the 3. He's skilled offensively. I think we need to figure out a way to get him on the floor with Randall. You can spread the ball around. You can spread the court out. You can have Anthony Edwards get to the lane, and you have the defender in Naz Reid. I think once you figure that out, and maybe Gobert playing less minutes, playing less than 30 minutes, and maybe that's what you need to do. I got Phoenix 4. I think, a full year, if they're healthy, better coaching, they're a deeper team. They have the ability to run. They have the ability to score one-on-one. It can get any shot they can. Their offense should flow through KD. They can get any shot they want to. Offensively, they should be better. Defensively, they could be better as well. I think a lot of people doubted them last year based off not having a point guard and having a defensive-minded coach that really couldn't mesh with their team. I got Denver 5. They've lost piece after piece the last couple of years. Murray, I don't know if he hasn't recovered from the ACL injury. I thought he was an all-star at one point. He hasn't really got back to that form, and the West is just deep with guards. And I got Memphis 6. I want to see them play. I want to see Ja from 2 years ago. And even 2 years ago, they lost to the Lakers in the first round. I just don't know if him and Desmond Bane. I think the Zach Edey pick was a stretch. You could have gotten a more talented player and not really focus on the big. And you could have gotten Valanciunas, someone to plug and play, but you still could have got more talent on the wings. Didn't really like that pick, so I got Memphis at 6. But that's my top 6.
Interesting. Nothing for me to add, really. Doesn't matter. I think Minnesota is a lot better than some people are going to give them credit for throughout the year. And I like Phoenix. I know I picked Phoenix to win the title last year and looked like a complete idiot. But I won't be doing that again. So let's get into these playoff projections. So if those are your 6, who's making it to the Western Conference Finals? Justin, we'll start with you.
Western Conference Finals?
Let's go right to the finals. We ain't got to go round by round.
Understood. Like I said, that's tough. But let's just make it easy for myself for now. Dallas and OKC, 1 and 2.
Okay. And who's
1
winning?
and 2. I have Dallas going back to the finals.
All right. Okay.
However, I want to show some love to San Antonio, man. I ain't get the 7 through 10. I want to show some love to San Antonio. I believe they're going to be there. Because they're not going to make it to 6. They're going to make it to 8, though. New Orleans, we ain't talking about the Pelicans. Shout out to the Pelicans. I'm just saying there's some tough teams. They got some tough teams. That's all I'm saying.
You saying Luka versus Wemby first round?
No. It'll be Shea versus Wemby.
So you think number 8? They're not getting number 7?
They get 8.
Okay. Calvin, who you got? Final 2 in the West.
Shout out to
Who's
Houston.
going
So
to the final?
you had Houston at 6, right?
I did.
So okay, my finals.
Houston was balling, man. They just caught on late.
I don't know if I need to see Jalen Green and Sengun play together more. Like Jalen Green played better when Sengun was out, and I just got to see them mesh more. I got to see them play more before I hop on that bandwagon.
In Doku, I trust.
Houston better than Sacramento?
Houston is better than Sacramento, but Sacramento's still going to be in the mix. In decade, I trust.
Nah, I got Sacramento being better than Houston.
Except for if I work with them, I don't trust.
I'll take. Why am I blanking on the point guard's name? But yeah, I'll take him. I'll take that too.
Take a blank guy that you don't know that you stumbled on. That
Who's
guy.
the final 2? Damn it.
Yeah. My final 2 in the West, I got OKC and Minnesota.
And who's going to the finals?
I got this being Shazier.
Huh?
You said you got OKC and Minnesota.
No, you know what?
OKC and Minnesota.
Justin, we should know he was going to pick this because this nigga, excuse me, he loves he loves some Chet, man. This is a Chet guy.
Oh my
This
goodness.
is a Chet guy. Go ahead.
My hot take, Lively gonna be better than Chet by the end of their careers. But I'm gonna go with Dallas over Denver. I mean, yes, Dallas over Denver.
That's right. You don't throw it in your slip. Say it. Go ahead.
No. I'm making sure I'm saying the right team. But yeah, Dallas over
Because
Denver.
I knew when you was like going in on Denver and how they ain't that good.
Yeah, I want to see Dallas. I mean, I definitely want to see.
That's what it is.
I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that Joker, the best in the league, and all that. The token white guy and all that. I'm tired of that, man.
So would
Get
you
him
have
outta
voted
here.
MVP? You
Ain't
didn't
that
have the
good?
MVP last year.
Hell no, Joker shouldn't have been MVP over Luka.
Man, you can feel the vitriol.
What did you do, man?
You had Luka. Who's next?
If there would have been, I know Calvin. I know you. Hold on. I know it was SGA, but I know Calvin. You can't go on the Luka thing. You probably had SGA, but I know you're a Kobe fan, and I know back in 2006 you said that Kobe should have got an MVP that year or whatever like that. I mean, that was 06?
That
Yes,
was 06. That was 81.
That's when he was doing 81 and all that. You were like, man, Kobe should have got that. This dude averaged 34, 10, and 9 on 50 and dag on 40 basically from the field. How doesn't Luka get an MVP that year? He had 50 wins.
The most points, total rebounds, total assists since the merger.
Both of them was arguing. SGA was MVP.
Yeah,
most points ever, and most points ever without free throws last year. If you take away the free throws,
that's
I'm gonna let Justin answer this question. What was the reason you said that Luka wasn't an MVP? Go on, repeat your argument.
I said whoever was going to get number 1, and Shea got it. So whoever got number 1 to me led that team.
But that wasn't even.
And
it was
previous,
Minnesota, Denver.
Hold on
OKC.
a second, and I said from the previous year, the fact that OKC wasn't even they was barely a playing team. Mm-hmm. He took them from that low to number 1. That's why I think Shea should have gotten it. And Luka was numbered, but I said if it was close, the voters was going. I said this: the voters were going to go with Jokic because they don't want to think too much.
Dallas didn't have Dallas last year wasn't a play-in team. They didn't make the playoffs, right? So everybody said they were going to be trash. Kyrie was already ineligible for any award before the All-Star game. That's how many games Kyrie had missed by that point. And Luka still got them to 50 wins last year, putting up 34, 10, and 9 on that efficiency. But it is what it is.
All right, so Eastern Conference. King, who you got? Final 2 teams, and who's going to the NBA championship?
I'm gonna go with the easy Knicks, Celtics, and I'm gonna go with the Celtics again. I want to go with the Knicks and say, man, come on, Jalen Brunson's play Mavericks, Luka, JB, but I think the Celtics gonna do it again.
Calvin, who you got?
I had Boston, Philly. With Boston going to the finals.
Okay, Justin, who you got?
Boston, New York.
Who wins?
orange and blue skies. We got it together by
Wait,
then.
wait. They lost by 40 tonight, but they're going to gain them 40 points over
Hey,
the course of the
I
next
said
8
all
hear
games.
about this. This
I
how
said
far
all
y'all
I
come.
said all that.
This how far y'all
Hey, this
come.
don't matter.
I said
I feel you,
we'll
BA.
have it. It was championship ring night, man. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Nothing you
This
do
won't
about it.
matter after 82. This
And I'm
first game.
going Boston and Milwaukee, and the Bucks are going back to the finals. Mark it down. Take a picture.
Is this like
Real talk.
okay?
So Milwaukee,
So they trading Chris Middleton for somebody.
They don't need to trade him. He's gonna be healthy by then. Look, okay.
they're gonna have a
never
top
heard
10
nobody-
offense and defense.
Watch him work. Now, look, I don't like Doc. I don't like Doc, but they're gonna play despite Doc. Look, I love the best player in the world, and his name is Giannis. And I think Dame is gonna really they've been working in the offseason, blending together very good. I think they're gonna surprise a lot of people. And they might have the best record in the East. They might mess around and do it. They might mess around. I'm telling you, you're gonna look up come Valentine's Day, you're like, damn, what happened?
Y'all know Giannis didn't make all defense last year. I know BA did. I talked to him about that all the time.
It's ridiculous.
That's wild. Giannis didn't make an all defensive team.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a great player. Great player. All right, so your finals, who's winning the championship? Hopefully you remember who you picked. Calvin, let's start with you.
I think this is gonna be the first time in about in a decade where team goes back to back. I got Boston going back to back.
Wow.
I think Tatum and Brown, just everything they went through over the summer, they're gonna take that game to the next level. They just
Hey, who going to the finals? You said OKC?
Yeah. They're just they're taking the game to the next level. They want to prove everything over the summer was wrong, especially Jaylen Brown, just being left off Team USA, and then Tatum not getting any time. And I think they're just on a mission this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they win 65 games. I think they're just taking the season, taking this regular season. They're not going to take it for granted, and I think that's why I got them just steamrolling through everybody. And when it comes playoff time, I got them going back to back.
King, who you got?
I got Dallas. I think this is the revenge season. I think this is the beginning of Luka being the face of the league. I think Luka's in shape this year. I think in shape, Luka is like adding another player to our team. So I got Dallas winning it all this year.
And do I have to ask who's winning the championship?
Well, I'm calling for Luka to get hurt in the postseason some kind of way, just enough to go to the finals. So they'll do that, and so he'll be limping into the finals. And once again, I think an Eastern Conference team taking, which is the Knicks.
Wow, man. Okay, so very unbiased opinions on this podcast tonight.
You didn't give yours.
I love to hear it. Oh, I'm going Milwaukee. If y'all gonna be biased, I'm gonna be biased too. The hell?
I'm not being biased. My team's going to the finals.
No, I believe
So
you.
who y'all got MVP though? I just want to know.
That was the next question. Who's your MVP? For me,
Well,
if
I know
this-
half the answer.
I call this the revenge season of Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I got Giannis as my MVP. King, I'm sure I know who your MVP is.
This Luka's to lose.
Sure.
That's
Justin.
Yeah, it is.
You know, I want to say whoever number one out the West again, but I do believe I had him as the best player in the league, so it's gonna be Luka.
And Calvin.
I'm gonna say Tatum.
They
I'm
never
gonna say
give it to him. They
No,
never give it to him.
The only reason I'll say he's been in the spotlight for this whole summer. I'll say I don't think Jokic is going. I don't think anyone that's won the last 3 years says Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis. I don't think they're going to win it. I think it's going to be somebody new that has not won it yet. So I think it's going to be some combination of SGA, Luka, Tatum. I think if Boston, if I have them winning 60, 65 games and run away with the East, so to speak, run away means more than 4 or 5 games. I think more than 5 or 6 games, so to speak. I think the West can be a toss-up. I don't know if Oklahoma City can repeat the performance they had last year, win total wise. I don't know if Ant is ready to step up because I thought he was the best shooting guard in the league, and then Devin Booker kind of tried to pull that back during the Olympics. So I think there'll be some toss up there. If you told me it's Tatum and Luka 1-2, then I think that's how it's going to end up. I just think that Tatum's starting off in ahead, and with team wise, if they can get 65 wins, then he'll just stay ahead. That's just my thoughts.
I think a dark horse is Joel Embiid if he can stay healthy.
He's not playing 65. He already said he's not
I don't think he said he ain't playing back to backs.
Yeah, never
So,
again.
That horse so dark is just not even there.
Giannis.
With the shadow.
Giannis is a dark horse, though, Larry.
I think he's a fuck.
Because if Milwaukee has a season, they remind people and say, "I'm that dude." I think Giannis has a chance, but it's Lucas to lose, though. It really is.
I feel like if Giannis does that, he ain't gonna be ready for the playoffs. All them years of playing like 30 minutes with Bud,
you're right.
Like, can he play 38 when he need to now, like consistently?
And Jaylen Brown, I mean, gonna take a shine away from Jason Tatum. They too close.
So
like
that's what I
feel like the Jalen. I think that's why Tatum. That's what's going to push Tatum further. Like losing Finals MVP and losing Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
In the finals.
Is he going to average like 30? You think Jason Tatum? He's not going to mess that chemistry up, right? So he's not going to go out there and try to average 30.
I think it's a little bit personal for him.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's going to sacrifice the team for the individual success, but if he got to take a couple of shots to get his numbers to a certain point.
We want Jason Tatum to shoot. That's yes.
All right.
So
one final question before we get out of here. We know LeBron James is going to be playing with his son this year. How do you all see that going down? How do the Lakers finish? I know we're not one of them shows that gotta talk about the Lakers, but I know Calvin, that's your team, so I had to show him a little bit of love. What do you think? Get your thoughts out. Go ahead. We ain't gonna be talking about him much this year.
Gee,
I got him making a play in. At this point, LeBron is not in it to win rings. I think it's been like that for the last couple of years. And talking about him playing 2 more years is just setting up what he wants Bron to do. If they can make the play in, I think it'll be maybe the back half, maybe that 8, maybe that 9 seed. The West is just so deep. You could probably say there 3 teams that won't make the playoffs. You know, Utah. I'm probably missing one, but like,
say who won't make the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, who guarantee? Like, we could just sit here and say that's in the West.
Portland.
That's probably it. That's probably it. So,
would you trade AD to OKC?
I think for that pick, if the pick is right, yes, because the kid from Rutgers look good. I forgot his name.
That's the crazy move y'all need to make this year. Y'all need to just trade AD.
That's a secret Giannis destination, in my opinion.
I think one of the teams, Dallas. I think OKC can get him, but OKC, I think if he has a choice, I think he'd go to LA or Dallas.
Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis ain't going nowhere, man. He's a homebred guy.
I would have said Dallas pre-Kyrie trade.
I don't know. I'm telling you, Dallas becoming that destination. We done beat the Lakers twice.
Y'all got the assets?
I mean, if the player wants to, we'll make something happen. You feel me? But we done the last. It's not a shot at LA, but like Kyrie, we got Kyrie from LA, and we done got Clay from LA. So it's becoming a little bit of a destination. So
like I said, I just think that like if the Clippers season go bad, and OKC get a top 5 pick, was looking like his top 5 pick, and you could use that as a leverage to get anybody, then a whole bunch of players become available. All of a sudden, you got a chance to get Cooper Flag or, like I said, the dude from Rutgers, number 1 pick, and then you're already OKC, and you have Houston's pick as well, and you got all these picks is just coming in. Like, that's a real trade asset. And if you tell me something, if I'm LA and you say that, then I got to do that. Like, I'm surprised that LA kind of like acquiesced to what Bron did, because you could have easily traded AD over the summer, let Bron walk, and you reset that thing quick.
They let AD trade value go away. They letting AD getting older. His trade value ain't getting better.
And I agree. Like I said, you could have easily traded them to OKC last year.
And
get a bunch of assets.
If you think AD gonna play 60+ game this year, I don't think he's playing that.
He played He played 72. Yeah.
He gonna get a 65. He gonna be forced to play. He gonna try and play for all NBA team. He's still playing for that.
He's still a good player because his value is going down. To be honest with you. Great show, guys. We appreciate you joining us tonight, King. We're about to get on to some NFL talk, but it's been a pleasure having you. This won't be the last time. Maybe bring you on every couple of weeks to get a little update on NBA. How about that?
No problem, And
y'all still doing every Mavs game?
Yeah, that's what I said. After probably I got somebody for the Spurs, but after y'all favorite teams, y'all know. But we do it late, so you got to be up late if you want to do our show, because we usually like 11:30 or so.
West Coast time.
Yeah. So, I appreciate you guys as always, man. The show is incredible. I told you I watch. I was one of y'all first subscribers actually over here.
Really appreciate you, champ.
Thank you so much, man. And as always, brothers.
And I wish I could be home live on Monday and Friday nights to watch wrestling and hop on, but
I think I'm gonna start doing a reaction thing. So
That
if we
would be
start doing a reaction show, I'll have you on
Yeah.
there. Right? We're definitely
Yeah.
doing it. Appreciate
definitely,
you guys so much.
let me know when that is. I definitely want to get on there because I got a lot of thoughts
All right,
about
brothers.
current WWE. All right, brother, be safe. Thank you.
Sir, peace.
All right, fellas, let's get into the main event, what the people really came here for, and that is the NFL docket from this past weekend. Now, look, folks, you saw what happened last week. We're not going to reinvent this wheel. We're not going to sugarcoat this thing. We're not going to act like our eyes are deceived us or something like that. No. Last week on this very program, one of our co-hosts came on here, opened up his mouth, and said that the Baltimore Ravens were going to go down to Tampa Bay and suffer a defeat at the hands of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Tampa Bay was a better team. That's what he said. He said it out of his mouth, and he said it with conviction. He said it with true belief in his heart. He didn't hesitate. He didn't stutter. He didn't mumble. He said it because he believed it. So now, a week later, I want to hear with the same conviction, with the same, gusto, with the same, boldness. Bravado. There you go. I like it. Help me, brother. I want to hear that same energy as you tell us, Justin, what the hell happened on Monday Night Football when the Baltimore Ravens went down there and put foots in y'all ass in Tampa Bay. Come on, brother. Explain what happened to the people.
It's first and foremost, it's two main components to why we lost. Matter of fact, I'll do you one better. Three reasons why we lost. In a very, very, very close 41-31 game.
What?
The score says what the score says. Uh-huh. So with that being said, the first reason why we lost is crazy, but it's because of Jerry Jones. And the reason why I say Jerry Jones is because he should never have let Derrick Henry join the Baltimore Ravens first and foremost. So when you have that kind of talent that works out in the offseason, that has a home in Dallas, and you chose not to get him for reasons that still doesn't make sense today as he tries to backtrack on the things that he has said, I blame Jerry Jones first and foremost. Second of all, when you have an icon on your own team, that icon being Mike Evans and the warrior that he is, once he scored, we were up. We were feeling good. The game was in our hands early in the first quarter, and he got hurt, which tells me I was telling Calvin off air. I was like, after that first touchdown, you should have got him out the game. You should never have seen your Achilles to your team, right? You're talking about Greek mythology right now. He's our Achilles, right? And our Achilles heel was a hamstring. And from that moment on, we tanked. We blew it. It was over. It was over. So our emotions, our heart, this football is a very emotional game because you give all your blood, your sweat, and your tears, ladies and gentlemen. And what happened is when you see your captain, your admiral, your go-getter, your everything go down the way he went down when he should have scored on top of it. That just it
put admiral.
it put shadows on our on the bright skies of Tampa Bay. Third, and most importantly, it is time to let go of Todd Bowles.
He had you 4-2.
Wait a second.
I'm sorry.
We can't gloss over the fact that Atlanta put up 500 plus yards on us, right? And we're dealing with the person that blitzes the most in the NFL, right? That is a stat. That is what he does. And he played to Lamar's to like Lamar 3, 4, 5 years ago when he couldn't pick up the blitz as fast as he could and find the right person and all that stuff. That's not Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP no more. That ain't who he is. If you blitzing, you're going to leave gaps in the opposing offense open. That's what happens when you blitz. So when you blitz at the rate that he does, you get wide open people. And that's all they did the entire night. Wide open tight ends, wide open receivers, just wide open. And then when you blitz, and if you don't get to Lamar, you over pursue. And it was times in which I saw Lamar through his helmet laughing at us as he was scrambling over the blitz. He was laughing. And I said, yeah, I can't stop blitzing. Let him read the coverage. Let him make a decision. There was no decision because that guy's open. Why? Because you left that area. Aaron Rodgers has this clip in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, where unfortunately I think it was against Tampa Bay. There was a person that was about to blitz, and he told him, "You're not going to blitz. Fall back." And what did he do? He fell back. Why? Because when you blitz, you leave that open area. Mm-hmm. And that's all Lamar did. He had fun with us. He had fun with our defense.
He was laughing all night.
And that's the problem. And not to mention, as soon as they got up, they just said, hey, might as well just get the ball to Derrick Henry because y'all are done. We was already done emotionally. We was spent. And they just ran the ball all over us. And then Derrick Henry running for 80 yards and everything like that. So it's time to part ways with Todd Bowles for giving up such putrid defensive performances. And like I said, I'm not going to give everything to the defense because they just absolutely trash. Baker was going to be Baker. I dread second quarters with Baker because I'm like, eventually he's going to F up.
You called it last week.
And that's what he did. It's like he just he gets too comfortable too fast, and you think he can do it all, and he can't. And that's why I said you can't put everything on him. We should run the ball more, so on and so forth. But it is what it is, and like I said, it's not a pleasant day in Tampa Bay. We had high admirations for the season. Hopefully, Mike Evans is not done for the season. Chris Godwin took a hit, and he was, as a man, as a player, as a just a fan, when you calculate his injury history and what he did to come back from his first injury, even had a bad season last year, but we was like, yo, he's going to be good this year. And he actually was like top 5 receivers going into the game.
Number one.
So to see him go down with a broken ankle, and who knows how
it was dislocated. Anything was broken.
Dislocated. Who knows how messed up it is, right? We gotta wait till the MRIs and make sure there's no ligament damage and all these other stuff. But it's so that of course y'all know, y'all can just look at your own ankle and stuff like that. You see how convoluted that is. How many different mechanical parts are there within the foot, ankle, calf muscle. It's a lot going on. So for him to have that kind of injury, God forbid, is anything lasting. And hopefully he can come back and salvage the season. But it's going to be some dark days. Yeah. Luckily, the NFC isn't that good this year, and we'll see what happens. But those are my 3 reasons why Tampa Bay gave a gallant effort, and we came up just 10 points short.
Let me say this because I want to jump in here now. Look, Tampa Bay was going to do what Tampa Bay was going to do. I had no doubt about this game. I hate to sound like that after the game, but I said this last week as well. It's just Baker Mayfield, he just turns the ball over too much. And we've experienced that when he played in Cleveland. We thought he'd clean up those issues. I'm not going to sit here and act like if y'all had a healthy Mike Evans throughout the entirety of that ball game, that this game wouldn't have been more competitive. But there was nothing that Tampa Bay defense could do to stop the Ravens once they started taking care of their business. And early on, Todd Bowles made a decision. He had to pick his poison. He said, either Lamar's going to beat me with his arm, or we're going to allow the run game to beat us. And they decided they were going to run blitz. They were blitzing heavy early in that game. You go back and look, And we know that they're the highest percentage blitz team in the league. And that is, like you said, that's their MO. But they were bottling up Derrick Henry on every time he touched the ball early in the game. And it actually made Todd Monken decide that, okay, we're going to put in our blitz beater packages. And it frustrated me. It frustrated a lot of fans of Baltimore that they took a concerted effort to make sure we keep Derrick Henry on the sideline, keep Justice Hill in the game, pass the ball in the flats constantly. And people like, how come they keep on throwing the ball to the flat? Well, if you see,
it was open.
It was there, and it was setting up things for later. Because now you got to respect that flat. Now you got to respect that play. And then where was Lamar making his money all night? Eating the middle up. I mean, it was ridiculous at one point where I think pitch and catch is even a bad term. Mark Andrews, all he had to do was turn around. The ball was right there. Bateman could eat up the middle. If Zay wouldn't have got hurt, I think Zay might have would have had a career night. Zay was still out there, but you could tell he was a little hobbled. Ricard dropped an easy one. I think Lamar threw it a little too hard, but the seams were there all night.
10, 12 yards. And even just to piggyback on what Justin said about the blitz pickup, on that screen pass to Justice Hill, when
that
you
was
blitz, and then it was
which one?
The touchdown pass where it was four. It was blitz, and it was four offensive linemen and Justice Hill. And Justice Hill in the picture. That's all you saw was four offensive linemen and Justice Hill in the picture. On second, I think it was second and goal from the 20.
And they made
because of the penalties.
Yeah, and it was just like you felt bad. Like, why are we going backwards? Then you see the play call. I was like, well, damn, they called that perfectly. Okay,
they ain't called it perfectly. A 10-year-old with a Madden would have called the same damn play.
They saw that they knew that Bowles was going to dial up the blitz, so they said, okay, throw the screen.
And this is, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This is one of the guys that you really can't overly blitz. It's Lamar Jackson, bro. Yo, this ain't dang. This ain't JD5 in week 1. He killed us. I'm like, yo, you lucky Lamar didn't take it upon himself to start running into some of those gaps. He very well could have ran through some of those gaps that was wide open, but he said, I'm gonna pass it tonight.
He wanted his 5 touchdowns. You know he did.
Yeah.
You know he did. At some point they decided, okay, we're getting you 5. You know what I mean? Like that was clearly what was happening. And also,
especially on the 4th and goal when he threw the Andrews second time.
Yeah. I'm glad they did. The game got tight at the end. But again, what I was the point I thought that was very, very, very valuable. And if you remember a few years ago, and I think that's something that must be noted. Remember that whole big ordeal that was made about the Ravens had no blitz pickup packages, no quick plays to come out of the Miami game. No, they just go zero cover blitz, and you can get to the Ravens. You can get to Lamar because the Ravens had no adjustments. They had, give Todd Monken all the credit in the world. And as much as I love Greg Roman, y'all know I didn't love him, but I never hated Greg Roman the way others did. This offense, you can see the game plans a lot of times. They decide in the first half, we're going to play this way. In the second half, we're going to play this way. Sometimes they even do it by quarter. They're going to say, okay, first quarter, we're going to make a concerted effort to come out passing. And when I say passing, not just any old pass, they might say we're going to hit the flex. Okay, we're going to set this play up because it's going to set something up later. And then you know that toss is coming. And like they set it up. Like they do it so much where now you got the film that you thinking it's going to come this way. So now they running counters off of it. Like this is such an intricate
flow of the offense. Defense just went right.
What you're saying is that you did something in the first half, and then you went into halftime and you made adjustments. And then you came out second half totally doing something different.
Intentionally.
They scored on 6 straight possessions, I believe.
It was down 10-0, and they was
10-0,
27-10.
Then it was 34-10.
34-10, yeah.
Yeah. So they scored on, I think, 6 straight possessions over the course of second and third quarter until Tampa Bay scored again beginning of the fourth quarter. I'm not saying it was adjustments.
And one of the scores that Tampa Bay got was because of the dumb lateral The ball he threw it back. The back was passed that they got the short.
They said he
field
was
on.
down. They said he was down.
No, they still. I'm saying they scored on
yeah,
that drive.
yeah. They scored on that drive.
The Ravens were moving the ball
Didn't even
before
think
that
about
happened.
that.
Yeah. But yeah, go give us your thoughts on the game, Calvin.
Yeah, look, offensively.
There ain't nothing else to say, man.
Nah, man, we gotta dissect this.
I think it was a great offensive performance. Look, from Tampa's perspective, they came out hot. They came out aggressive. They were able to get that lead. I wouldn't even dare I say.
And then go ahead, boom.
But even going to say, dare I say, that's the touchdown pass to Godwin that was called back because of holding. There were a couple bad calls in that game, especially on the offensive line with holding. The one Lamar run was called back for holding as well.
Yes.
So they were calls on both sides.
Calls in that
they were calls on both sides.
Horrible. But also, let me piggyback on that real quick because it's a point that you just made about, they came out hot. You got to think about it this way as well. Tampa Bay had a hell of a balanced game plan. I give them all the credit in the world. They was running down the Ravens' throat. That's the first team I've seen all year that was able to conserve. They stayed.
But it wasn't early though. It wasn't early per se.
It was for a while.
No, I'm saying initially they were kind of going quick pass, get a couple yards. The run game kind of evolved late.
No,
I thought it was
early
in the first half. Bucky Irvin was getting like.
I'm talking about the two scoring drives. They really weren't. They did nothing against the run. Their first two scoring drives. That's what I'm saying.
Ran well.
But when they got the ball after that, even though they didn't score, they were able to run the ball. But then something happened and it caused them to punt. Or was the two interceptions by Humphrey in the first half as well?
That's what I'm saying. If you looked at it, they scored on two drives and they were moving the ball well on the two drives where they had the bonehead interceptions. If he doesn't throw that pick in the end zone, like Peyton Manning said, throw the ball away. I don't know. Like at that point, nobody's open. Like he didn't see Marlon. I get it. It's a mistake. But
that's what I said. That's why he didn't throw it away. He didn't see him.
He didn't see him. But what I'm saying is live to play another down. The Ravens defense stinks. I don't care what nobody say. I love the Ravens. But we're going to do our power rankings later. But the only thing that's holding them back is that defense. I'm sorry, man. I love Roquan Smith, and he's doing all he could. He had like 18 tackles last night all over the field because he got to cover everybody's ass. But that secondary stinks. I'm sorry. It stinks. And your boy, the rookie, I'm not impressed, Calvin. I'm not impressed. Go ahead, finish your thought.
I think, and I said this to you earlier, the defensive performance, if you take away two plays, if you take away the fumble or the pass by Zeta was a lateral that ended up turns into a fumble, you take away the onside kick, you're possibly take away 14 points. And 41-24, 41-17 sounds a whole lot better than 41-31.
Defense. First and foremost, we're not taking points off the board. Don't do that.
I didn't ask you. Y'all lost. I wasn't talking to you.
But don't do that. Don't take points away. It happened.
I'm just saying, if you go up against a team at full strength with Mike Evans, with or say Jamar Chase, we'll see him in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
No. We know they can score, and they're going to keep scoring. That puts your offense in a position where they got to score like a couple weeks ago. You're in a shootout. You know what I mean? Like a great team, the best team. Now, we're going to talk about Detroit a little bit too. They was in the shootout this past week, but against Minnesota. You know what I mean? I don't consider
Tampa Bay's offense wasn't good coming into the game. When they were they were at full strength, even though Mike Evans was hobbled, they were still a top tier offense. They were struggling. They were struggling against the run. Rashad White was struggling in the run game, but they still had Bucky Irvin who was doing his thing as well. So, what I'll say is the Ravens have had a 10-point lead in 4 of their 6 ball games. Their defense has been thrown on more than any other defense in the league. So if you're going to complete 50% of your passes or 60% of your passes, the league average, you're going to give up these completions. Now, can you change some things and get philosophy-wise? Yes, you can still get better. With the addition of Darius Washington coming back, will that help? I'm not with the Millette. Will that help? Yes, it will help to give you fresh bodies as well. But they've been on the field. We even had another drive where they scored, got an onside kick, and then scored again. So defense on the field for about 8 straight minutes. Those things, and it's happened twice. So at this point, I don't understand how you have a special teams coach and you can't figure out how not to give up onside kicks. The only 2 onside kicks in the league were given up by your team. That can't happen. You should have fixed that after the first time. But my point is, those extenuating drives outside Cincinnati, we have those 2 drives where your defense is on the field more, and they give it back-to-back touchdowns. So I'm not saying I think the points make it look worse than it actually is when you actually watch the game and see what's going on during the course of the game. That's all I'm saying.
I agree, but let's move on to this. Is Lamar Jackson the MVP of the league right now? If you had to take a vote, because a lot of people are debating this thing. Because look, you got Lamar, Derrick Henry.
That's
Before
bullshit.
last night, you
That's
had
bullshit.
Baker Mayfield, who
Yeah.
was there. You had Jared Goff has also been in consideration. Who else would you put up there right now? And if it's not Lamar Jackson, or let's put it this way, if it's not a Ravens player, who is the MVP of the league right now? Justin, who you got?
But it is.
There you go.
So this is my thing, and I'm gonna get labeled as a hater. I get it, but are we ready to say that Lamar Jackson is going to be a 3-time MVP and he doesn't win a Super Bowl, guys? Like I know that's projecting, and I know that's all that, but that looks so bad on him. So to save another brother, I'm giving it to Derrick Henry and let Lamar get offensive player.
I don't
want that
I don't
narrative.
like that. I don't like that.
I don't care if you
because-
don't like it. I don't want that narrative for him.
I don't care about the narrative.
You get a vote.
But when Tom Brady threw 20 touchdown passes to Randy Moss, no one talked about Randy Moss MVP. It was all on the quarterback. So it's got to be be quarterback.
But he already won.
Derrick Henry is doing his thing, but it's because of Lamar.
Narrative for him.
I understand. I understand the whole narrative. He can still win one. He can still win one this year. And then
I think a better comparison is Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk. I think that's a better because to me, the quarterback throwing to the receiver, the quarterback still gets credit for throwing
And
the ball.
Lamar's running abilities opened it up for Derrick Henry. So it's still a comparison. I don't think like the quarterback deserves the majority of the credit, and that's the way we've transitioned with MVP in the NFL. That's just how it is. Recently.
I think that Lamar is the MVP because despite Derrick Henry still getting the numbers he got, Lamar's numbers are still great. It would be a difference
better than he was. Yeah,
it would be a difference if Derrick Henry's number was sensational and Lamar just was solid. You know what I mean? He's throwing a lot of touchdowns. His interceptions is down. I think he got
Can
2
you
on
get
the year.
this dude off the screen? Yeah, why is he floating on my team like this?
Yeah,
I don't like this picture, man.
He was levitating.
Why is he floating?
Because I was like, should we put this one up?
That's fine. I'll take it.
You can't tell what's going on.
Yeah, you run it. Okay, look like he about to
my
get
man
tackled.
Lamar.
No, he about to
out
go
there,
another
baby.
30 yards
That's
after
an
that.
MVP
That's
right there.
That's cool.
The other picture was a play that was called back.
Yeah, it was called back.
It don't matter. It's the
But
optics.
it was a spectacular
optics of
picture.
it.
Though. You gotta get my man.
Elevated. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? You know?
It looked like you river dancing on that man.
Yeah,
head.
who's
Look at
number
that
94?
tape underneath
Who's
him.
94? Who's 94?
Probably Cansey.
Just look at his face. Look at the disgust on his
Like you
face.
see he look like you see the Lord. You're like, oh God. But no, man, I really think, and we're gonna talk about this next week because
Cansey.
next week is our mid-season superlatives, and
They
we'll
put Bronny in the game.
next week we'll go through everything we saw through the first half of the season because even though it's a 17-week season, I still consider week 8 the middle of the year. We ain't doing all that bullcrap. So we'll talk about next week what we've seen for the whole first half. But we need to really think about this. Who are you going to put as your MVP and your offensive player of the year? Because even a game like last night, Derrick Henry, it wasn't like he ran the ball the whole game. They were up.
15 carries for 130.
They were look, it was a lot, but he got 80 on one. That's the thing about Derrick Henry. The guy is so explosive. If you gave it to him more than what you did, he could legitimately have 200 yards a game, and that's not a stretch.
And I know I talked about earlier in the season about just overuse. I liked how they use him in this particular game.
I'm
not. In his previous games, he needed the carries to win. So I appreciate that, but to be able to win a ball game in which he wasn't necessarily being used early on in that first half, and everyone's sitting there thinking, is he injured because he's standing on the sideline? To him closing that ball game out in the second half, to get the majority of the carries, including that 67-yard run.
No, I like him being a closer, but I like him to be involved throughout the game. I don't want this.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But it's nice to not have needed him to have 25 carries this game. That's
true, but it's a lot to ask for a guy to just come in cold and now warm it up, big fella. Like, come on, man.
But he did it.
Let me get a rhythm, damn it.
He did it.
And I know he can do it, but that's not ideal. And I get it. I get the point. They wanted the I think he can blitz protect. I mean, I'll take him over Justice Hill picking up a blitz. I'm sorry. The guy's bigger than everybody else on the field.
I mean, a couple of them was the offensive line, like just not communicate when they run in the stunt, and all of a sudden Justice Hill's following his man.
And
then stopped after the first quarter.
Yeah, it did. Sorry, buddy. All right, let's move on because some other big stories from the week. And we play the Cleveland Browns this Sunday, and we got to talk about what happened this past Sunday in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson went down with a non-contact injury. He's going to be out for the year. Looks like he popped his Achilles. Achilles is done. And the fans in Cleveland cheered. Look, I'm not one of those guys that's going to go on these long rants talking about the fans. Look, the guy sucked all year. So a lot of people cheer for the backup quarterback. I think that's simply what it was. They wanted Jameis to come into the game. Should they have stayed quiet, hope the man was for the best to get up? Yes, of course. You want the fans to be, on their best behavior. But working at the stadium as I do and monitoring and seeing drunk people act like idiots. Fools going to be fools, man. You can't hold the whole crowd hostage because a few drunk people decided, get them out of there. You know what I mean? Like that's going to happen. So anyway, if had Deshaun played up to his capabilities we saw in Houston, clearly, as we talked about last week, the guy simply has not been healthy. He's not been himself, and he did not give the Cleveland Browns everything they paid for. Unfortunately, it comes to an end. This is probably the end of his career in Cleveland. I don't know how they're going to get out of this money. I'm sure something in the contract. But it was sad to see him go down like that. But now Jameis Winston comes in and take over that Browns team, and they'll go up against the Ravens this Sunday. Justin, what was your thoughts on Deshaun Watson going down and how everything was handled? And what would be, do you think, forecasting this out, is this it for Deshaun?
I think it is. Unless he wants to be a backup. I don't think another team's going to give him a starter spot.
Mm-hmm. He'd be a good backup. Mm-hmm.
That's if he wants it. He might be under the feelings that he still should be that guy. So, I guess every backup should feel like that. But, if he plays good, any kind of stretch, there's going to be a lot of people saying he should be the starter. I don't think people will want that sometimes. But with that being said, it's maybe Miami might pick him up. But it's just all bad things. For the fans, I think they really were happy, genuinely happy. I don't think Deshaun ingratiated himself with the fandom, with the fans like others have. So that's that. But I think it was happy. Like it wasn't a hit. It wasn't like a Chris Godwin hit. It wasn't a hit that did it. It's just hamstring. What? I don't know. You just had a hit, soft tissue injury or something. Get him out of here. Yeah, I think it was that. Had they knew it was the Achilles, they might have would have thought a little bit different. I know he kind of went right to it, but if I'm out there, I'm like, oh, that could be a calf injury or something like that. It could be a thigh injury or something. So I think they was on that vibe, as in like you didn't get hit, so you ain't had no boom, and then that caused, because then that's like a different level of like, dang.
Sure.
But I hope Winston gets the most of the reps moving forward, and I'm really thinking about what that might do for Myles Garrett. He didn't like them cheering like that. I don't say he befriended Deshaun, but that was his brother in arms, and for the fans to act like that, he was one of the first people to come out and say something. So you don't want to mess around with other franchise players too much when they have the liberty to demand a trade if they want to. So I'll be a little worried of that.
Calvin, quick thoughts?
So I know this year and next year, I think his cap hits like $70 million. So I don't think he will start another game for Cleveland next year when he comes back. I I think they'll probably draft a quarterback, but I think he'll be on a roster next year just because of the cap hit, unless they just decide to blow the whole thing up. But that means you're getting rid of Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, a bunch of other players as well. But don't think he deserved to be treated that way once he was injured. I know Cleveland may feel like they didn't get their money's worth, but I think how you treat players, like I don't see how you can, unless Cleveland just overpays again, how can a free agent decide to go there and play for that fan base, knowing if I don't play well, this is how I'm going to get treated? Unless you just overpay like you did for Deshaun. Like, how can that
losing
happen?
franchise, man? They haven't won. They just suck.
Yeah. But I mean, going forward, I mean, this makes Kevin Stefanski. I think he's a pretty good coach. We saw what he did last year with Joe Flacco, but does he take the fall for this as well? Like, where does this stop? But I'm not saying he was perfect. We know what the allegations were. We know what some of the allegations still are. And we know that they continue to put him out there, hoping for some resolution to the situation. Is this what they hope for? Is this what they would figure they can get out? How they can get out from under this contract? Don't know, but we never got to see that Deshaun Watson from Houston for whatever reason. Maybe a change of scenery helps, but at this point, would anyone else take him on to be anything other than the backup? And he's at this point he's going to make over $200 million or so, more than a number of other quarterbacks. Does he even want to try again? Does he even want to go through this again? Does he even want to go through the rehab to put the work in to try to come back? You got to answer all those questions, and then I guess we'll just see what the future holds.
Yeah, we'll continue to monitor the situation.
On a side note, shout out to Nick Chubb.
Came back
for coming all the way back. Yeah. And I at his age, the degree of injury and all those things, it's just ironic, the irony in this, that you lose one guy the same time another guy comes back. So they, it might be hope at the end of the tunnel, but shut up. He was not supposed to come back this fast. That's Adrian Peterson, like, remarkable dedication to the offseason.
Agreed. Let's move on. So let's get to the Jets. Look,
we can still talk about Nick Chubb if you want to.
No.
Understood.
Because look, guys, at some point you just gotta react to what your eyes see. Not what you hope, not what you wish, not what you projected before the season because you thought this would happen. React to what your eyes are telling you. Aaron Rodgers is an old quarterback. Okay? It's just the bottom line. He's not Peyton Manning. He's not Tom Brady. Those guys were able to leave their original destination, their original home, go to another team and lift those franchises to championships. Aaron Rodgers is an older guy. If anything, he's just like many older quarterbacks who have played at a high level when they were younger. And after 40, they weren't able to do it. I mean, look, we can't keep acting like that has not happened to most of the quote-unquote great quarterbacks of the past generation. He's human. I mean, to expect him to go out there and play at this extremely high level for 60 minutes consistently against the good teams. He might can do it against the bad teams. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he won't have a couple great games this year. But to expect this team to have gone to the Super Bowl, to go and make a deep playoff run, it's over. Hang it up. That team doesn't look cohesive. And it's not just about his play on the field. He's not a team-oriented guy. We talked earlier about Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning had 3 MVPs before his first Super Bowl. We talked about Lamar hasn't had it. Peyton Manning didn't get his first Super Bowl till year 9. And guess what we still think of Peyton Manning as one of the best players to ever play. Not just because of what he did, win championships and stuff like that. He did it as a team leader. He was an innovator and he was a team motivator, and he changed the way we saw football. Then he took his talent to Denver and made that team great too. And even when he was a shell of himself, he was able to do enough to propel that Denver team to win a Super Bowl, even though Von Miller and that defense helped a lot. Well, Aaron Rodgers is supposed to do the same thing in the Jets. And it's not happening. Justin, I need you to stand up and be accounted for. What's going on with this team, and why were you still holding on to this hope that they can turn this thing around?
Next week they play the Patriots, and after they got blown out the first time they played them, I believe that they're going to have a best chance to beat them this upcoming Sunday, and I expect them to win this upcoming Sunday to exercise all these demons and demonic talk that you were just spewing over there. And it's all going to come to an end, yes, in the opposite way, though. You're thinking that the season's going to fall off. I'm saying that they have to hit rock bottom in order to rise up, and that's exactly what the Jets are going to do. So they have them. They have another. They have a couple other games after that. That's very winnable for what they can do, so they can get their offensive flow going. See, the problem was that Devontae came back during an away game and against a Pittsburgh team that was hungry, and we didn't know what to expect from Pittsburgh. We didn't know what Russell Wilson was going to bring. We didn't know what type of player he was going to be. And the Steelers have a good defense on top of it. So it's not like they have a bad defense and all of a sudden they just destroy the Jets. No, they have a very good defense. That's what they're supposed to do. TJ Watt was all over the place, injured, came back, still made a difference. That's the type of player that the defense is for them. So the fact that you had that, now for some reason out of nowhere, Najee Harris is running the ball like he back in college. I don't know where this is coming from. And then now you got Russell Wilson. Russell came back and started throwing the ball to George Pickens out of the way. I forgot he was playing in the league. So, with all that being said, that they just ran into a buzzsaw waiting for them, and that was the Pittsburgh Steelers. They said, we've realized that there's a good chance that Baltimore's going to squeak by Tampa Bay. So we have to win our games that we're supposed to win to maintain the race for the division title. So that's what I think honestly happened. They just ran into a buzzsaw, a better team playing the moment because they switched quarterbacks and it got better with the quarterback play that they were not expecting. They ain't had no game footage on Russell Wilson this year.
Okay. All right, Calvin, before you go. All right, week 1, they lost to the Niners. The Niners have not been good this year. Week 2,
it was better then.
They beat the Titans. All right. Good win. Right. Week 3, they beat the Patriots. Good win, right?
They lost.
Nah, they just won 24-3.
Okay, yeah, good.
So those are the 2 wins on the year. They beat the Titans and they beat the Patriots. They lost to the to the Broncos at home.
Yeah, that's
10-9.
Yep.
Close loss. Lost to the Vikings. Lost to the Bills.
Wait. We just not going to say they lost to the Vikings. They lost to an undefeated at that time up until this week Minnesota Vikings.
Neutral site in London. I give them that. Then they got smoked by the Steelers last week. So you should definitely win in New England this Sunday. That's what you're telling me. All right. Now you got the Texans at the Cardinals, who look like they're coming on.
We'll see.
Colts, Seahawks.
That's winnable.
Dolphins with Tua.
We don't know how Tua's going to come back. He's one shot away from being injured again.
Rams, who probably will have everybody back by then. Bills.
They may not have a quarterback.
And Dolphins. So that's I count maybe 3 wins, maybe 4. That's
4 more. 4 more.
Yeah, maybe 4 wins.
I'm counting 6 or more.
Generous.
This is the team that's going to, I said they're going to catch fire. And once they catch fire, it's going to be a blaze trail right behind them.
Let's be generous and say they get 6 more wins. That's 8 wins on the year.
I said enough. 6 or more.
like it's done, man. Y'all dug yourself too deep a hole.
And who was taking over in the AFC? Not too many teams are winning like that in the AFC.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
To the rankings.
We'll talk about that. Calvin, your thoughts.
It ain't over.
Yeah, I agree with Justin. They should win this ball game. Then they play Houston next week. They're gonna be 3-6 in a couple weeks. Look, Aaron Rodgers it's taking a little bit longer to come back from this Achilles injury. He's not as mobile. He can't get the lift on his passes. He can't roll out the pocket. It's not what I expected. I expected a lot more from this team. I still have an outside belief that they can make the playoffs. The division, I think, is well out of hand when you're 3.5 games back, 4 games back, because Buffalo beat you head to head. But I don't want to beat this. I don't want to beat this team any longer. It's just disappointing. I expected more.
Call it what it is.
I expected way more.
let's look at the other side of this. Pittsburgh.
Hold on. And the other thing, I don't know how I feel about Devontae tempting me with the Edgar Allan Poe post and then going to the Jets.
Hey,
that kind of bothers me as well.
He's getting exactly what he
that bothers me as well. Because you knew what you were doing the whole time.
Hopefully, it inspired Bateman and Zay to step up, and it's worked because they've been playing well. Give Bateman credit. We didn't talk about that earlier. Bateman been stepping up.
We ain't got to. We're talking about the Jets, man. Keep moving.
All right, so let's flip it to the.
I don't know
where your
guy was going on that long pass play, but that's not neither here nor there. We already talked.
What's up with the Steelers? Do you think that Russ is the guy again, or is this just you played a bad Jets team and you caught him at the right time? Calvin,
they caught him at the right time. The Najee Harris had his best game of the year. I don't think when you're playing when you need to. Not only do they play him at the right time. The Jets are a team that can't score points. When you play a good offense that's going to put up points, I don't think the Steelers offense is ready to go up and down the field, score points as needed. They were able to play better downfield, get Pickens a couple more shots to keep him happy. But I don't know if they consistently can do that, especially when you have a team that scores. This Jets team did not score for the first quarter and a half post halftime, and that's where the game kind of got away from them. They just couldn't score. They couldn't run the ball. They were forcing passes to Devontae, trying to get him in the loop. The Steelers just have had this schedule thus far that has allowed them to go 5-2.
They have not played an AFC North.
They haven't played anyone in the division. I think their first game will be against the Ravens in a couple weeks from now, unless they play Cincinnati, Cleveland. They just had an easy schedule that's allowed them to get to 5-2, despite what they've been on offense, and that's less than stellar.
Mm-hmm. Justin, your thoughts on the Steelers?
I think they're just trying to keep pace with you guys. You can't help.
I'm saying. Do you think Russ is the guy, or should they go back to Justin Fields?
Apologies. Hey man, in their season, this is what you call an offensive explosion. So you gotta ride that out now. It's not the worst thing, only because he was named a starter. Mm-hmm. And that's one of those unwritten rules kind of things where nobody should lose their opportunity to start due to injury. Mm-hmm. So if you go with that, and Justin, he knows he should have wowed the fans. He didn't wow anybody. Yeah. 10 total touchdowns, 5 through the air, 5 rushing. You didn't do enough to silence that rule. So that's on him. So he's there. And he'll just be, playing backup.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll continue to monitor that because you know how they do in Pittsburgh. They just go from quarterback. They pull anybody. Quickly, the Chiefs still undefeated, guys. Like, look, it is what it is. And I said this. This is a defensive football team. I said this before the year started when we were talking about opening night against the Ravens. I said, you ain't really got to worry about too much about the offense. It's that defense that beat us in the playoffs last year that held us in check. And once again, Patrick Mahomes threw, I think, no touchdowns. I think he threw 2 interceptions. And he ran. He ran the ball well. He was elusive. You saw that big-time truck he had in the end zone. And destroyed that guy. Man, that's bad. This picture right here is bad. But the defense is probably playing very, very historically great. Can they keep this up? Is this a team that can get hot at the right time and go 3-peat at this juncture? Let's keep it quick. Justin, I'll start with you.
They're undefeated, right?
Yeah.
They can continue it. They now have built-in losses now. They can lose a few games and still be okay.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they have to. I mean, they're going to be a better run team when Pacheco comes back and Clyde Edwards-Helaire back, but the pass game, they're just struggling passing the ball. So they can run and play defense until they're able to get this passing game flowed again, then yes. I mean, I don't think their schedule is too tough coming up. They got some division opponents. They got the Bucks a couple. They got the Bucks a couple weeks.
There. They got
the Raiders, the Buccaneers, the Broncos, and then the Bills. They can run off 3 straight because the Bucks are suffering through injury right now. They can run off 3 straight and still be 9-0. Like that's built.
If you look a little further, I can look.
It's the Raiders, the Chargers, the Browns, and then the Texans.
I can see the Texans
so
being a challenge, and the Steelers play tough. Steelers play tough. So I mean, I can see them literally losing 2 games.
14-3, 15-2.
Yeah, easy.
So you get it. So you get the number 1 seed in the playoffs, and the playoffs go through Kansas City again.
And you just buying time for them to catch their rhythm. You hope that it never comes.
But I mean, do you think they catch their rhythm in the passing game? I mean, with no,
you still got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Eventually, they might find
a wrinkle. Will get better.
Yeah, they're going to find a wrinkle that works for them, and they just trust that Patrick doesn't throw 2 interceptions.
Yeah, and like again, and they got one of the best home field advantages in football. So. Man, that defense keep you in any game.
Did they say? I know that he didn't. It's not on. It wasn't season. But is Rice coming back at any point?
I haven't heard any update on that. I know they thought it was going to be not as bad, and then they changed that. And then he still got those allegations against him too. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Next up, we got to talk about the Lions. Thinking about a couple years ago, we bring this up often. With Dan Campbell changed the culture in Detroit. But you also got to give Jared Goff a lot of credit. He's a surefire MVP candidate at this point. I think he's playing sensational. I think people are underestimating how many weapons the man has that's contributing to this. They have 2 running backs who are dominant. They have 2 receivers, a tight end. They have everything you need offensively. The question we had last week was, could their defense live up without Aiden Hutchinson? They were in a shootout this past week with Minnesota. Came down to Minnesota, just didn't cash in on one of their last possessions with the football, and they had to punt. That's exactly what happened. If you watch that game, if Minnesota doesn't punt that last time, it doesn't allow Detroit to go down the field. And Jared Goff moved the ball down the field, got him in field goal range, and they walked off with a game-winning field goal. So it was a tight win, but it was a win. And Goff was sensational once again. I give him number 3 on my list for MVP thus far. He's up there. They only got 1 loss on the season. Gets a lot of credit. Calvin, your thoughts on Jared Goff and what he's been able to mean to that Detroit franchise?
He led. They were in a shootout on the road, divisional matchup, and he was able to come out of there with a victory, leading his team despite missing arguably your best defensive player for the foreseeable future. I've said they've had an easy schedule, or they've had a favorable schedule, especially weather-wise. So, look, you got to give him credit. You got to give Dan Campbell credit with Montgomery and with Gibbs in the backfield, with Amon St. Brown, even though they're going to miss Jameson Wilson for the next 2 weeks, again, who's suspended. But they have an offense, and they're able to score points at will, especially if there seems to be in a dome with favorable weather. So you got to beat them at their game, and especially defensively, where you thought they may take a step back, they were still able to do just enough to beat Minnesota. And maybe this is the reason why Minnesota has been linked to Matt Stafford. Maybe they just don't believe in Sam Darnold for the long run for the remainder of the season. I think they need a little bit more and able to achieve their goals. But all credit goes to Detroit. I've been high on them all year. Good win for them.
Justin?
I think this is more to do about Minnesota failing offensively. In the fourth quarter, they had to come back. They was clearly behind. And to get 2 field goals and a touchdown, eventually you got to capitalize on your offensive possessions, and sometimes field goals is just not enough. So having 2 back-to-back field goals and then you finally score just to get the ball back to the Lions so they can eventually get the game-winning field goal, that's the problem. And that's why they lost the game. The Lions should have lost this game if they convert more. That's all the Lions did was score 3 points in the fourth quarter. That's all they did. But with that being said, because they won and because Jared does have the stats that he has, he is for me also. He is third. He is third in the MVP vote because he is playing lights out. When it comes to stats, he looks like he's doing very good. But if you look on that last drive, that was a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs rushing the ball, catching the ball. He kind of pushed them. It took them up the field to field goal range. But we won't give it to Jared Goff until he loses it.
All right, cool. So this coming week, we got some big games coming up. Any other games from last week that jumped out to you all that you wanted to touch on? I wasn't really blown away by much. Let's pull that graphic back up. So we had that New York Giants. Shout out to Saquon Barkley going back to the New York and putting on a hell of a show last week. I mean, right off the bat, they were booing him coming out. They were booing him at the start of the game.
And they shouldn't have booed him. That was just New York being New York.
They had no reason to boo him. He didn't do anything wrong. He wanted to come back.
Go back and watch Hard Knocks.
Shout out to Seattle Seahawks, man. Big victory in Atlanta.
On the road, yeah.
Falcons were three in a row. Were hot. And Seattle went in there. Mike McDaniel's defense. I mean, they hit Kirk Cousins so hard one time, his nose was busted, blood all over the place. And I love Kirk, but God damn it, that offensive line showed him no respect. And no respect on Sunday. But thankfully, Tampa Bay lost, so we still in first place. Just anything else jump out to you from the weekend?
I'd like to thank Denver for keeping New Orleans at bay as well. Shout out to Denver on that one. But when it comes to that, you know, I'll say this. This is not a divisional thing, to be honest with you. But one, the fact that Washington was able to win without JD5, Marcus Mariota came in and played extremely well.
That was a hell of a hit. He took to his ribs. Did you see that?
Yeah,
man, it was a shot.
Yeah.
But he could have came back. That's how I showed how tough he was.
But
Marcus said, "I got it." So shout out to that. I did expect more from the Texas and the Green Bay game.
I agree.
That was a little bit lackluster, but Green Bay came out with a W. So once again, the NFC North is
tough,
very, very strong.
Yeah, Calvin.
Yeah, I expected more from Houston and Green Bay. I figured whoever Green Bay being at home would win, but I expected a little bit more offensively from that ball game. Houston is you know, just I don't know if they're ready to take that next step. They've lost some games they should have won, and I think if you're a good to great team with Super Bowl aspirations, you win those type of ball games. But I expect more from that ball game.
Don't they only got 2 losses?
Yeah.
But they haven't looked impressive.
They lost to Minnesota in Minnesota. They got beat terrible. They only scored 7 points. And then even the last week, I think C.J. Stroud only had 80 yards.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's more how they look versus
how they look
losing to teams they should. Understood.
Yeah. Correct. So this Sunday you got Tampa Bay and Atlanta in Tampa Bay. We know that they've been experiencing some injury issues, so that should be something to watch. You also have a big game that I think is going to be interesting in Buffalo, in Seattle. Seattle coming off of that big victory last week where they got the win over, as I talked about, Atlanta. Bills, they added Amari Cooper. He caught a touchdown last week. We'll see how that goes. Tua might be starting this Sunday.
Told him where to go.
Yeah,
he did.
Tua might be starting this Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals. We saw the Cardinals on Monday Night Football this past week. Dallas and the 49ers, both of these teams really need this.
And that's Sunday night too.
Yeah, we'll see if Debo will be back. You know, he was in the hospital with pneumonia this past week. So
that top 3 receivers could be out. Because James is still out, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and your boy who stole money in the offseason, he done for the year. So yeah, very Ayuk, man. That guy did not deserve that money.
You're missing potentially the best game of the year with Caleb versus JD5. I'm assuming he's not going to play.
Finish with that so we can actually discuss it. But the game with the highlight, the game to me that I circled to make sure that we talk about will be Caleb Williams and JD5. The 2 rookies, 1 and 2. Well, a lot of people early in this season have already crowned Jaden Daniels as the rookie of the year. But I don't know. Caleb Williams is making a name for himself, coming on strong. We'll see if JD5 is healthy and ready to roll on Sunday. Calvin, give me your thoughts on this matchup.
If we get if JD5 plays, and injury report will be out tomorrow, and we'll see what his designation is injury wise. I think I'm gonna go with how the offense in Chicago, but I just want to see this matchup between the top 2 picks in this year's draft. I just want to see that matchup. I think football fans deserve to see it. Both teams with a winning record, both teams in playoff contention. You know, both teams in tough races to win their division, but I think I'll go with the hotter offense in Chicago. Well, they had a bye week last week because they were they played across the pond a couple weeks ago, so they had a bye week, so you're able to prepare a little bit better. But if there's no JD5, that kind of just messed up the matchup in my opinion. But very high. I'm looking forward to watching. And this is a game that outside of Ravens game, I will have to watch this entire game just because I'm so interested in both offenses.
Justin.
I think it's still gonna be a good matchup, even without him. Like I
I ain't
said,
watching for Mariota. I ain't watching to see Mariota.
I know you're not watching it for Mariota, but the fact that he came in and did well is what you're looking for that team, because they still need to maintain. Both teams need to win. Both teams need to maintain their footing within their respective divisions. So if JD plays, that's great. If not, I still think Washington has a hell of a shot to win this game. Going with Washington, yeah.
Regardless of who starts.
Regardless.
All right, so let's take a look at the division so far this year, and we're going to get into our power rankings very quickly before we get out of here. We know it's kind of late. We appreciate you all staying up late with us tonight. The AFC East, Buffalo has that on lock with 5-2 right now. Miami might be coming back with Tua this weekend. The Jets are slumping. We'll see if they're able to dig themselves out. Houston at 5-2 on the year. The Colts are right there behind them with 4-3. They've already had there. I think they're heading to a bye coming up here. You got the Ravens and the Steelers at 5-2. Both teams have on a little bit of a roll here. The Ravens have won 5 in a row, so they start off 0-2 in the season. And Cincinnati, a lot of people believe they're about to make a surge. Kansas City, undefeated team in the league, the only undefeated team in the league at 6-0. Denver is playing well. The Chargers only have three losses. Really doesn't keep that far out in the wild card, so that'll be interesting to track. Over in the NFC, Washington and Philly both have 2 losses. So Philly had their bye. Philly actually defensively have played a lot better the last 2 weeks, so give them credit. Dallas is still alive. They only have 3 losses on the year. So as bad as they've looked, they're not completely out of it. Detroit 5-1, tied with Minnesota after that win. They get the tiebreaker last week. Green Bay right there 5-2. And then the Bears coming off a bye also 4-2. So all the teams in the NFC North had 2 losses at worst. That's wild. The South, 4-3 Atlanta and Tampa Bay have tied with a matchup coming up this weekend that will show who's the best. Atlanta's already beat them once on this year. New Orleans, after starting hot early in the year, have seemed to be falling apart. And then they did also news on that. They signed Alvin Kamara to a 2-year extension earlier today. So
talking about him getting traded. I didn't realize that.
They re-upped him. So
he about to shut it down for the season now. He got his money.
And then the division that most of the NFC probably has been beaten up on, which is padded their record. Seattle's 4-3, which is leading that division, which is nuts because if you look at 4-3, that's more losses than Tampa Bay. I mean, Tampa Bay and Atlanta had that, so it's not terrible. But you got Arizona at 3-4, got a big win on Monday Night Football. San Francisco's been injured, and Rams are coming off injury. We don't know Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua when they're supposed to come back. So that's just taking a look around the league. So heading with that being said, let's get into our power rankings. Justin, I'm going to start with you. Name your top 7 teams in the NFC. The whole National Football League. We do the whole league, and I'll pull up the graphics so you have the names just in case you need to.
Don't need it. Number 1, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 2, Baltimore Ravens. Number 3, Minnesota Vikings. 4. I'm sorry. The Lions.
Okay.
Detroit Lions, number 3. Number 4, the Vikings. 5, I have the Buffalo Bills. 6, I have the Eagles. And 7, I have the Commanders.
Okay. Calvin, what you got?
I got
2 teams left real quick. 2 teams left. Houston, they dropped out mine. And for the time being, Tampa Bay.
Okay. Honorable mentions. I like that.
I got Buffalo at 7. I got Washington at 6. Minnesota at 5. Green Bay at 4. Baltimore at 3. Detroit at 2, and Kansas City at 1.
Wow. No, so no Houston in your top. And that's your number 1 overall seed. Okay.
You ain't got the Eagles in there?
No. I don't.
Interesting. Y'all really high on Green Bay.
I didn't
Okay.
have Packers in mind.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, good. I agree with that. At number 7, I'll go reverse like you're supposed to. At number
I still made it interesting.
number 7, I honestly, I've been struggling back and forth, but like you just said, I gotta go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I just think they have so much offensive firepower, and that defense is starting to click that they get number 7 on my list.
They can get there this week. So
coming in at number 6, I'm going with the Washington Commanders. I think those teams are separated by a hair. I don't really think that's that far apart. Number 5, I got the Buffalo Bills. I had been high on them even before the season started, and I think they've gotten even better, adding an Amari Cooper. Number 4, this is tough, man, but I just call it like I see it. Number 4, I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings. I think they're a very good team. That was a tough loss, no harm, but you did lose at home, and I thought the way they lost takes them down a peg. Number 3 on my list, and I know this is controversial, but I don't give a damn, the Kansas City Chiefs. I just don't think they're the most complete team. I think they're undefeated, yes, but they won a lot of those games by the skin, the hair on their chinny chin chin, and the offense just leaves a lot to be desired. This isn't about who has the best record. This is your power rankings, who's played the best. And I'm not impressed by some of that. I'm not impressed by some of their games. I'm just not. And, number 2 on my list is the Baltimore Ravens. I think their defense leaves a lot to be desired, but offensively, they are probably the most impressive unit in all of football. And number 1, I had the Detroit Lions. I left the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Houston Texans off my list, but it was close. They will get consideration, and Green Bay. Those 3 teams I will be keeping an eye on. They're just outside my list. And I'm also going to keep my eye on Seattle. That offense, when it's clicking and Geno's on the money, he throws a lot of touchdowns. And when they can run the ball with Kenneth Walker, I like them.
They really trust in Geno because I think he's got the most attempts so far this year. Like they really put the ball in Geno's hands.
Yeah. So I think our lists are actually pretty different, which is good. I love different. Different is good. We'll continue to monitor it. One last look before we get out of here at our preseason predictions. Anything? Because next week we're going to do our midseason recap, and we're going to
get rid of this crap.
Yeah, we can get rid of this. So
I've seen this.
This is our final week of looking back at what we said before the year. Justin, take a look at your list. What do you like? What don't you like?
Yeah, man, it's just those Browns. That's my biggest thing is those Browns. That's the only thing I see. I still think the Rams is going to come back. So yeah, it's just Cleveland.
I think what y'all think. So next week, I think we should be able to. What if we both all get 2? We get to swap out 2 teams from our list
per conference.
No, that's 4 teams, man.
No, man.
That's a whole new list.
You go and look at.
Now you can choose 2. You can choose one conference. I like that.
You choose whatever you want, but only get 2.
Okay.
And then we'll see at the end of the year who made the best. You know what I mean? I think that's cool because all of us, our lists are different enough where you can strategically pick 2 and still have a very good list. So I think that'll be good for next week. But Calvin, how's your list looking? Do you think 2 would do you right?
Per conference? Yeah. No, but I my NFC, I'm happy with my NFC. I think the Rams, when they get healthy, they can be dangerous. And then with San Francisco struggling, that division still up for grabs. So I like that. The AFC, Browns, the Jags, the Jets. And Miami, if Tua is healthy, they can make a run. So I'm not burying Miami yet. You can see the importance of Tua. I'm not saying how good he is. I'm just saying you can see the importance of Tua. But the Browns have mailed it in. The Jags never got started, and the Jets, those high hopes.
Okay. How about
Yeah.
How about swap out 2 teams and we can reshuffle order? We
I
can.
mean, I don't care about reshuffling order, but that reshuffling.
I think we
can.
can. I think reshuffling order is fun because now we can see. We kind of see where
That's
things
because you
are
picked
at.
Miami.
I'm just saying, Buffalo right there, baby. I'm just saying. Nah, they ain't.
Oh, and you picked Dallas. Like
Dallas could still squeak in there. I mean, I'm swapping them
that's
out.
why
but-
that's why he made a point to say it during his little rundown. They're just 1 or 2 games behind.
Hey, they right there, baby.
Despite how they started. I saw that.
Yeah,
we had to slide it. It was pretty obvious.
Nah, but that Cleveland boy. Ugh. I think that's the worst pick on the whole board.
and we all got Cleveland.
Yeah, we all got them in there. I mean, I like the Colts. I like the Bears still to make squeak up in there. I don't think I have other than Cleveland.
My like I said, my NFC, I'm cool with it. Like even the Rams, I still think they can make a run. And
you got the Jets. So stop it.
I said my NFC.
Oh.
I said my NFC. For real.
It still ain't over with the Jets. I don't like you poo-pooing.
What about the 49ers? Is anybody going to swap out the 49ers or are you going to keep them alive?
I still think they can win the division. I mean, they beat Seattle, so they're they end up tied with Seattle. They can beat them, so I mean they'll end up ahead of them. But yeah, I don't.
Well, let's see what happens.
I mean, I have them at 2. I won't have them at 2. I'm not going to have them at 2.
The Cowboys beat the 49ers this weekend. That will help me determine who I'm swapping out because I like the Houston Texans still in there. I like the Ravens. I like the Colts. I like the Bills. Dolphins can make a run. Yeah, I'm fine with my list, honestly, except the Rams and the Browns. I think that would probably be my 2. But we'll discuss that more next week.
You keeping Chicago?
I like Chicago a wild card. They could get in there.
I think every
not
team
over Green Bay, but
every team in the division is better than them. Now, I'm not saying that they won't all finish with 9+ wins. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying my list will be perfect. I'm just saying as far as playing the choice, you know what I mean? It is what it is. All right, guys, it's been a fun night here. Get off the damn fence. We appreciate you. Final thoughts. NBA is tonight. Anybody been taking a look at any scores or anything? What do we see? What do we see? Anything interesting that happened around the association that we
missed? The Knicks? What was it? How did the Knicks finish?
If we would have had it yesterday, I would say the same exact thing. You're gonna give us some time to get everything gelling together. I did not expect them to come out like gangbusters or whatever that saying is. I did not expect that. So you can believe if you want to. I never said that. You never heard.
Hey, you know what? I'm very, very, very cognizant of paying attention to people who you typically get things wrong. And when they tell you something, make sure that you pick the opposite. So when Justin said that, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to beat the Ravens last week, he said the Jets were going to win the Super Bowl. Guys, please make sure that is on your record. Justin said this team was going to win the Super Bowl. Not only were they going to win the Super Bowl, the running back was going to run for 2,000 yards. Am I right? Don't you remember that, Calvin? I remember that. I was right here on this very program. I got the tape. He said the New York Knicks are going to win the NBA Finals on this very show tonight. All right, remember that. All right.
He said Jalen Brunson win the MVP. Well, it's too much.
No, he didn't say that. He said Luka. Okay. But I just like to keep track of these things and repeat them. So
I didn't say Tampa was going to win a Super Bowl. So
I didn't say that either.
I'm not a homer all the way.
But shout out to the New York Liberty for winning the WNBA championship
with the assist.
What did y'all think about that call at the end of the game?
With an assist,
hey man, things happen. When you get 2 stars, Breanna Stewart and Sabrina shoot for Kavan 5 for like 34. Huh?
Say her last name. Sabrina what?
Ionescu.
Right.
Hey, okay, there you go. I just want to make sure you got it right.
Homeboy. I does my research. I'm good at it. But they score. They stay when they go from 5 to 34. You're supposed to win that game.
Yeah,
they did not.
You're supposed to blow them out. It should have been close.
Interesting.
You can miss me with that call.
But it's the first NBA championship for the city of New York.
They play in Brooklyn though. How come y'all can't play at the Garden? You call it New York Liberty.
Don't worry about it.
But it's New York. Brooklyn is New York, like I said. But we had this argument a couple months ago.
That's disrespectful.
We had this argument a couple months ago. about Brooklyn ain't New York. Like
They should have been playing at the Garden. That's all I'm saying. That's disrespectful.
it is what it is.
They got a more recent title than that.
And it's wild that the most highly publicized season
just
of
won.
the WNBA, the most highly publicized season, which was basically with Caitlin and what's shorty name? Damn, I forgot it already. Anyway,
Only show is Angel Reese.
Angel Reese, where the focus and the team from New York wins the title. So they're like, from a ratings perspective, what more could you ask for?
Baseball having the Dodgers and the Yankees.
The Dodgers and the Yankees. I'm about to say from a highlight, from a big time market.
Who you got, Justin?
Perspective.
I can't ask you that. Who you got? World Series.
I know 2 players that's playing.
I wouldn't even want to ask you. I wasn't even asking you.
Yankees.
I got the Dodgers.
Yankees win.
Shohei.
Okay, so we got two big
Juan
things.
Carlo.
Hey, they marquee,
He's
man.
still
I might
playing?
even watch it.
Yeah, I think. Ain't he?
I thought you should have said Soto. I'd have been like, cool. He said
That's honestly who I met, but I'm gonna rock it out. I'm gonna ride it out.
So a lot going on. You got NFL, you got NBA starting up, Major League Baseball into the World Series. A lot to talk about, and we'll be back right here next Tuesday night for another edition of Get Off the Damn Fence. Next week, we will have our mid-season superlatives, our mid-season awards, talking NFL, who we have for our NFL MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, and we'll project out where we see things going into the playoffs, who make the Pro Bowl, all that good stuff, because, that's what we do. We look at the games, we make projections. Lot of the time, people are wrong. Let's call it what it is. But 9 times out of 10, we say it with our chest because we ain't on the fence. We say it with conviction. You know what I mean? So anyway, thanks for joining us tonight. We know it's late, but we appreciate you. A lot of people in the chat tonight. A lot of people were online. We really thank you for being loyal supporters. Get Off the Damn Fence. We shout out to King for joining us early tonight. Be sure to check out his podcast. He talks about all the Mavericks games, Dallas Mavericks games, post game. Also, he talks wrestling. So check out those channels. He's on social media, YouTube and Facebook. Justin, tell us the specifics about those channels for anybody who's looking for.
We talk Mavs and we talk KFAB.
Kayfabe.
That's what I said. The way I said. Those will be his links on from Glowson. Playback app is what you need to get.
Definitely. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll be back for next week for another week of Get Off the Damn Fence. Y'all have a good night.